Bro, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Dude, guys, welcome to episode 146 of the Drag Driver Pete Show presented by Summit Racing. Tonight is a banger. I'm putting it in the atmosphere. We're going to have a blast. We've got Luke B from Howard's Cams is going to be on. And I asked him, I said, hey, we need 2 tips for people that are looking to make more power and do it within their valve train. So get ready. He's going to give us some stuff. He said he's going to make some people mad tonight. Okay, so get ready for that. And then as we shift into the back half of the show, we have the quickest man in drag and drive on tonight, record setter, Dodge Viper owner, driver, the baddest man to do it. Hot Rod Drag Week, 617 average, new record, takes down a 10-year run there from Jeff Lutz. Going to be awesome. Mr. Ned Dunphy is on the last part of the show. We're going to talk about, obviously, Hot Rod Drag Week 2025. But did you see the message he sent us about the cars that he has? Sounds like
Yes.
a good time. So will you hit that intro? Let's do this thing.
All right, let's do it.
All right, guys, like I said, welcome to episode 146 of the Drag Driver Pete Show presented by Summit Racing. I'm Mike Narks, your host tonight, and host on the show or on the news on Saturday mornings too, man. We got another big show we're already writing notes for, but if you guys have some stuff that want to update, we're going to feature an entire section of where your car is now on Saturday morning. So send us a message, let us know what state your car is in right now because the season is about to go crazy. Mr. Eric White, my right hand man, what you got going on, dude?
I am Eric White, co-host of the show at News, and man, the theme has been artwork lately, and lots of stuff for the circuit, and
Yeah.
we've got some cool new artwork that we're going to roll out tonight, which I'm excited for.
Yeah, I'm really pumped, man. You've been crushing that stuff, and as we move into, well, we'll cover all that stuff in a minute. But as we move into the real push for spectators to put, we want to put people in the stands to watch these racers, man. Your stuff is getting great, and the one way people can help us do that, put people in the stands, is to share stuff. Just asking, please do that. Thank you for being our race car friend, y'all. It's awesome to see you guys. I mean, the comments have been nuts this last week. I don't know if it's just that Brian has been getting to the Mike Finnegan stuff, and man, that stuff always seems to draw a lot of controversy. I'm not saying controversy, but maybe a lot of comments. So appreciate everybody doing that. And then of course our sponsors. Without them, we couldn't do this. So if you're doing some shopping, please hit these guys up. Summit Racing, which we have, I actually counted it up today. I said 9 last week. It's actually 16. We have 16 discount codes remaining. So if you need to order something before the circuit, holler at us. Deech Works, who's bringing 2 cars to the circuit, obviously, 850 Contender, and then David Deech's Volvo Amazon. Molly Motorsports, who's coming all the way from North Carolina to come out and be on site, driven racing oil. Again, I say it every week, but if you want your stuff to go roundy round, that's what you need to do is put that driven racing oil in there. Howard's Cams, Luke B is going to be on later tonight, so that's going to be kind of a fun episode. J-Wire Solutions. If you guys aren't following Jay on YouTube, you need to be doing that because our boy Brian is helping him get some content out finally. Thank sweet baby Jesus. He's helping him get that out. AFCO Racing Products, Performer Built Transmissions, Car Change 3D, and Low Dollar Motorsports. Y'all, if you're doing some shopping, hit those folks up. And of course, if you're watching TV, which you are right now, or your phone, PowerTube TV is a great spot. And then if you're searching for some things to buy that are used, the buy sell, official buy sell trade of Drag Driver Pete's Racing Junk Classifieds. So make sure you find some cool stuff over there. Summit Racing, obviously, I can't wait to show you guys this next slide because it's going to be freaking awesome. But first, we got to listen to Mr. Brian Loans talk about something.
What does it mean to be built with Summit? It means you're hitting the autocross, drag strip, road course, trail, dirt, or open road with confidence. Because built with Summit means you're using parts from the top names in performance, priced to make your project affordable. And it's all backed by trusted tech expertise and blazing fast shipping. Summit Racing Equipment. Let's build it together. SummitRacing.com.
Speaking of tech expertise, can you get better tech expertise than a $15 drag drive repeat hat? I don't think you can. Like I'm giving you guys the tech right now. You wear it and it has airflow in the back, and then you look smarter. That's what I'm saying. You may be faster as well. I don't know.
I've been waiting for these. This has been something I've been waiting for them to release, and I'm super excited to get my hands on some of these.
Yeah, and what's really cool is these came just in time for people to order them and get them in from summitracing.com. But if you don't have that opportunity, you're going to be able to pick these up at the circuit. So we're going to have several shirts and hoodies and this baseball cap and the big brim hats at the circuit that are all the Drag Driver Pete Summit branded merch. And just like our friend Alex here says, plus 20 horsepower.
Yeah, smarter, faster, and cooler.
Right. I'm not saying that people are going to be more apt to take your picture while you're wearing one of these hats, but that's probably what's going to happen.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, while you're over there, of course, you got to pick up the Drag Driver Pete shirts. We got hoodies like that was seen there in the UK last weekend. Big shout out to Tom Bagley for sending that over to us. And while we're talking about Summit, they're a big part of the Mickey Thompson Turn and Burn, which is coming up early next month, which is kind of exciting. I didn't put any of the photos in here for that. I should have put your artwork in here for that people will begin seeing on Drag Driver Pete. But in talking about that and why it's related to Summit, not only is Summit presenting sponsor of it, but Tommy Dupree, our boy over at Summit, is thrashing to finish his new car. Okay. He hopes to have it running this weekend. We don't have any specifics. We can't release anything, but if it's as nice as he says, this car's going to be freaking cool, man. I can't wait.
Yeah.
So it's kind of awesome. Yeah. And then on a secondary Summit note, Brian Nutter is going to be on the show next week to discuss the Summit Pro Line series of parts that they have. We're going to talk about camshaft technology. We're going to get real nerdy with Brian. We've actually got about an hour and 15 minutes planned with him because he's probably too smart for me, and I can't wait to expand my brain some, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so that's going to be a good one too.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. So that will be episode 147. Dude, can you believe it?
It's coming up on 150. That's crazy.
It's absolutely crazy. How about some Drag Driver Repeat updates? We've got 11 days until the Mother Road Mayhem. If you're doing the math on that, that's not this weekend, that's next weekend. That's 11 days. That's pretty close. And then that means we're 22 days from the circuit. Yeah. Get you some of that. It's pretty wild to think that we are that close. And then, of course, the backbone of Drag and Drive Part 8 dropped last night. It is featuring the Fling family, which, if you guys don't know, the Fling family is like Drag and Drive royalty. Tech, they do our tech, and Tara helps with all the input of the time slips and everything like that for us here at the circuit, but they do it also for Hot Rod Drag Week, all of the sick events, all that kind of stuff. So this family is awesome. If you haven't read it, you can find it over at dragdriverpete.com/news and get over there and get that information. It's pretty crazy. I love the stories in there. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the articles right before the circuit, and I'm going to pick up some of the snacks that everybody says they like in that article. And we'll see what they do. So see if we put those all up there. Oh, Jack Crawford said I got to get some testing in. Yes, he does. Holy crap. J-Wire was on episode 0. That's exactly right. He's been on a long time. Well, dude, tell us what's going on in this photo, because there's a complete motor and then there's parts on the floor.
Yeah. So I don't get hammered as much as you do about the updates on the old truck, but Spent 4 or 5 hours on Easter Sunday and actually got the LS out of the Fox body completely tore down. And it is ready to go to the machine shop. It's getting hot tanked and magnafluxed, and then it'll come back and it'll be build time. So pretty excited about that. And for Luke B, I did the one thing that they always tell you not to do with LS engines. And I looked at the cam bearings.
Why would you do that?
when I looked at them, I knew those couldn't stay in there, especially with a Howard's cam going in. That right there that you see in the picture on the right felt like a football. Like the texture of a football was how rough it was. So we got those knocked out. Dan and I knocked those out, so we'll have new cam bearings going in when it comes back. But pretty excited. So got
not the cam bearings.
Yeah. Actually went to stop by the machine shop today and realized they got some banker hours. They're only open 8 to 3:30, and I'm at work that entire time. So going to give them a call tomorrow and see when I can bring it in, and actually have to leave a little bit early, but need to get that process started.
Yeah, sorry, boss. Gonna need a longer lunch. Got to get to.
That's right.
Yeah, man, dang. So I do want to ask, because I didn't think about this until now. Was there a cam in that block?
Yeah, it was this engine had been running in the Mustang. The first passes I made in here, and then that was no turbos, because when I got this engine, it was straight out of the junkyard. Actually, when we pulled this engine out of the junkyard, there were turbo manifolds on it. No turbo, but there was a turbo manifold on it. So I don't know what this engine had been through before I got it. So yeah, and then I put it in the car. I didn't do any bearings. I tore it down to a rotating assembly, replaced all the gaskets, and then threw it in the car. Made 3 passes at Byron on it, brought it home, got the turbo stuff ready, got all that on, and only went to a local car show with it, and then got hit with the while I'm in there and tore it all apart because it had a small radiator in it. And, you know, drag and drive, I needed a bigger radiator. So what started as I just need to install a bigger radiator turned into this.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when a car's down. So, but that's changing. I'm excited to see this thing come back together, and we have a lot of sponsors that are on board, bringing in a lot of products. You got a Howard's cam, you got Molly pistons going in this thing. It's gonna be pretty wild, and it's gonna be our first foray into you building. I mean, obviously, I've done drag and drives with the old truck, but nothing like what you're gonna do with this car.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I want to get this block taken care of, cleaned up, because I don't want to throw all these, you know, products in it, you know, in the state that it's in. So
yeah, I just can't believe that the cam bearing is like that and it had a cam in it. That's pretty interesting to me.
Yeah.
I would have thought that it would have been, you know, that hole is empty and that's what's letting that rust go. All right, well, let's fire on, man. Let's keep going. I can't wait to see that thing come together. Circuit updates, bro. Again, 22 days until VIP Tech and the Racer pre-party. Now, for folks that didn't sign up for VIP Tech, there are about 15 spots left. That $50 allows you to tech on Thursday from 12 to 4, which puts you into town early, you know, unload your car, get all that stuff done so you can go right to racing Friday morning, right after the driver's meeting, okay? But if you are going to be in town Thursday and you don't think you'll make VIP Tech in time, then you can still come to the track and unload your car and drive it to the Racer pre-party, right? So it's not like you don't have to have VIP Tech to be in the Racer party type deal. So just wanted to clarify that right out of the gate. So I hope to see a bunch of people. We have, like I said, I mean, I think it's 80 something people. I think 78, 80, 82 people, something like that, signed up for VIP Tech. So that's pretty awesome. You can see here, new artwork is going to start dropping. You guys have seen the artwork on the left. Eric is working on road trip artwork because obviously we're sold out of racer tickets. So the road trip is our first level of wait list. So if you're serious about getting in, sign up for the road trip. Do it now because we will be going through. I actually had somebody fall out today or fall back to the road trip today because the motor in their car is no longer going to be raceable. So they're going to swap out a stock setup and just cruise along. In the road trip for this year, you do get, windshield decal, special decal. You can see it on the top there. You get an event shirt, you get special parking right up front, right where all the spectators are going to walk through. You get track entry to all 3 days for you and a co-pilot. We'll have a whole snacks and drinks area. This is probably the most key part of the road trip is you do get early entry and discounted entry to the circuit 2027. So this is a way, it's the only way I know how to make that offer available is to do this. So it's an investment this year to get in and, work your stuff on the, on all the other things, but get everything ready, get in there and get driving. What's Gary Visser asking here?
He said,
Oh,
sorry,
the old
off
cars.
topic. Jason
Yeah.
McDonald, 5,000 cars to sell soon.
Yeah, I've messaged the guy to see what we can do to help get the word out, but there's no, I don't know. That just almost seems like too good to be true. Or, you don't put any details in there. You don't put any contact information. You just basically put up a post that says, "I have 18 months to sell 5,000 cars. Help me." But I'm not giving you any way to help me. So I messaged him, thought there may be a way to get in there and help with all of that. But I do want to ask people that are watching this for the circuit stuff, please, when you see these posts, we have spent some money on ads doing this. Please hit the share button in there. When you see that, put a little comment at the top. That's what drives so much more. Don't just share it, but put a comment at the top. Hey, I'm going to be here. Hey, I can't wait to kick so-and-so's ass. Hey, whatever. Just throw a line in there up top. Okay. So appreciate that. And then tech for the circuit. Pay attention, put down your phone, whatever you're watching something else on. This is important. We follow Tulsa Raceway Park and Thunder Valley Raceway Park are both NHRA tracks. We follow NHRA tech. We have books that are going to be there with us. The flings that do the tech for us also do tech for Drag Week and all of the SICK events. So they are going to be doing tech similar to that here at the circuit. Okay. Just because this is a regional event doesn't mean we're going to be less likely to tech your stuff to the same level that you would at Drag Week. And that is intentional. That is because I want this event to be the best, the premier regional drag and drive event in the world. So get your stuff ready. I had a conversation today. We will probably have time to get your chassis certified and to get you licensing passes during the weekend. But if you're coming to compete and you want to win your class, do not think you can show up on Friday and do all that and get your licensing passes in, because you cannot submit a pass that you are not legally tech to. Okay. So, hey, by the end of the weekend, I'll have to where I can run 850s. Well, if you don't have it on Friday, you cannot turn in anything faster than whatever your certification would be. Okay. That is, I don't know how else to make that any clearer, but that is the rule that we've said since 2023. So we follow NHRA tech for everybody that's watching. All right. Now for fun stuff. This Red Scotty, not with that attitude. Hey, listen, well, I love open stuff, but man, we got stuff to take care of on that side. In the tradition of the last 10 years, I wouldn't call anybody out. In tradition of the last 10 plus years, I guess, we are kicking off the first race of the event. This is a big deal. So you want to be there on Friday. I think the track goes hot at 11 on Friday or 10, planned for 10 a.m. on Friday. You want to be there because you're looking at two guys that could lay down possibly the first 4-second 8th mile ET of the circuit history. And they're going to be side by side, the first pass down the track. Okay. Now, we may have had 4-second times run back before 2023, but since 23, when we went to the NHRA stuff, that is what we're going to call that's where we're going to set the record baseline. Okay. So Eric Kuhn versus John Ketch, first out of the gate. Dude, this is going to be badass. I cannot wait. These cars are super, super fast.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah. And this John Ketch called out Eric. So that's kind of fun. They're going through all that. And then the second race is our boy Red Hat Scotty versus Brett Marvel from North Carolina, driving his big block Chevrolet truck. We talked about this last week. So that's our second race. And then the third race, and then we'll get to open track after that, I promise. after the third race, or the third race is going to be Eric Risner in his newly rebuilt 67 Mustang, I think, against Jim Parkinson, our 2-time quickest 8th mile car. They're going to be racing 8th mile as well because they're both in unlimited class this year. So it should be freaking awesome, man. I can't wait. It's going to be badass.
I'm not saying we should have like a Mark Campbell, Brian Acton call out in there somewhere, but
listen, I would take 5 call outs to start the event. I would take up to 5. So it gives us 2 to finish there, but that would be awesome. That or TJ Linebaugh is another 850 killer from Michigan. I don't want Brian and TJ to drive all the way down here from Michigan to have to then race each other. So maybe we need to duke it out a little bit, but yeah, I love that idea. So somebody tag Brian Acton over in the comments there and see if we can get some side action going on.
Yeah, or Mark Campbell. You know, if Jim Parkinson's is getting called out and he's the fastest 8th mile, and you know somebody ought to step up and call out the fastest quarter mile too.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to do that. Somebody call out Brian Acton real quick. So, bucket list mob, yes, you do have to get to a circuit race. I promise. It's going to be most fun out there. It's crazy. Jack Crawford going to say, I'll jump in. Dude, I would love to see who he's going to race. He knows everybody over there. Okay, let's talk about some driven racing oil updates because we got Luke B backstage, but I've been jaw-jacking and rambling too much, so we're going to be a few minutes late for him.
All right.
Hey, it's Brandon from Fort Smith, Arkansas here. Driven Racing Oil is a performance engine oil that can do it all. GP1 is the ultimate oil for any race or performance application. Whether launching hard at the drag strip, enduring the extreme heat of off-road and circle track, or pushing the limits in top-fueled drag boats and demo derbies, winning racers choose GP1. Compatible with engines from classic hot rods to cutting-edge race machines, GP1's unique surface cleaning and high zinc formulation ensures superior wear protection, particularly for flat tappet camshafts, while solving issues like cylinder washout with methanol and ethanol fuels. Crafted from the legendary Bradford, Pennsylvania base oil and enhanced with state-of-the-art additive packages, GP1 offers the best of protection and performance.
Bro,
that's what I'm talking about.
Got to back up.
That's what I'm talking about.
Tell us what has just been said.
I mean, I just made a suggestion with Mark Campbell and Brian Acton, and we got Jay said, let's go. We got Mark that says, I'm in to go wear out Brian on day 1. And Jay says, I will answer on Brian's behalf. Let's
set up
freaking go.
Yeah, that's race number 4. Who can go to 850 and not go quicker? Man, that's going to be a good race. So that'll be race number 4. We got one more call-out race left. Dude, that's awesome. Okay.
Yeah,
tell us about some driven racing oil stuff.
All right. So we've got our April registrations. Weekend Warrior Race and Relax opened up 6 days ago. It is open right now. You can go jump in and get registered for that. And in 3 days, we have Drop the Hammer Judgment Day, opening up registration April 11th. So super excited to see that one. And we don't have too many more registrations coming up. So these are your opportunities to get in and get to an event.
I was kind of thinking that the other day. I was like, man, I wonder how many are still left. I mean, there's got to be a few, but probably not many.
Not many. And that rolls us into our April events. Again, Streetcar Bragging Rights, April 15th through 18th, Rockingham Dragway. That is in 7 days, 1 week from today. That is going to kick off. And we know tons of race car friends will be there. Jack Crawford calling out Chris Padgett. I like it. Redwood Rally Chaos Cruise, April 18th. Samoa Dragway starting out at the Playa Pizza. That is 10 days away. Mother Road Mayhem, our first ever single day event. Tulsa Raceway Park, April 19th. Like you mentioned, 11 days away. Carolina Drag Cruise, April 22nd through 26th at Shadyside Dragway. That is 14 days away. And once again, rounding out the month of April, the Circuit 2026, April 30th through May 3rd at Tulsa Raceway Park, 22 days away.
Dude, that's so crazy. 22 days. So I tagged both the Jack and Chris. We'll see what Chris says.
Let's go. And this was just announced recently that we have Disco Dean and Mrs. Pinky attending the Redwood Rally Chaos Cruise, which is going to be awesome. Obviously, you can see those photos on the right when they attended Sick Week. not this year, but last year, I believe, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So cool to see them join in on some drag and drive stuff. I know they had a blast at Sick Week, so it'll be cool to see them out on the Chaos Cruise as well.
Oh yeah, they were a hoot, man. They were always having a good time. Big smiles too.
Yeah. And Carolina Drag Cruise, which we just talked about, this was posted on their Facebook page saying after talking to the tracks, they said bring it. If you're on the wait list, here's what you need to do. Bring $100 cash, as I have no way to process payments on site. So just pay during registration. So again, quick run through their schedule. Wednesday, April 22nd is their day 0 and tech party. Shady Side, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Thursday, the 23rd, day 1, Shady Side, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Friday, the 24th, day 2 at Mooresville Dragway, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. April 25th, day 3, they say TBA, which I was a little confused on that one still, being that we're 14 days away. Says near Gaffney, South Carolina, but 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then Sunday, the 26th, back at Shady Side, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m.
That's awesome.
So if you're on the wait list for Carolina Drag Cruise, take $100, show up, and you'll be in. And that rolls us into our May events. May, we have the Mickey Thompson Turn and Burn, which you just talked about, with Tommy getting a car ready, with Summit sponsoring that event. That is May 5th and 6th at Summit Motorsports Park. Going to be an awesome event there. Sorry, May 5th through 9th at Summit Motorsports Park. Then we've got a couple week gap in there, and we hit Back to the Streets, May 20th through 24th. Kicking off at Bunker Hill Dragway. And what racetrack are they also going to?
Brown County.
Okay.
Dude, they're going to Brown County. Man, I got to go. I got to.
Yeah. And then we've got Drop the Hammer, May 28th through 31st at Mid-Michigan Motorplex. And rounding out the month of May, we've got the Sick Speed Fest, May 28th through 30th at Beach Bend Raceway.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you. And then it's on. Like,
yeah, I don't know how I'm going to fit them all on
is
here.
going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So get ready. Get in there and get your stuff done there, guys, what I'm telling you.
And this next picture has not been released yet. So this hasn't even been posted. But obviously, you know that we are involved with the Havlicks Fastest Streetcar Shootout, helping out with the drag and drive shootout portion. So artwork is going to start as soon as we finish the circuit. We got to get through the circuit, but sorry, just kidding. The next one.
The next
one. This is the Mickey Thompson Turn and Burn. Right here, you're going to see artwork rolling out just like this for all of our drag and drive shootout participants. So I'm super excited to get these going. These are going to be a ton of fun. We've got a killer list of participants in the drag and drive shootout.
That's awesome. And asking if they had missed Ned, not yet. He'll be coming on at 9:00 Eastern and be on for about an hour.
So once again, we'll kick up that promotion once we finish with the circuit, but this is just a preview of what you will see.
Yeah, I can't wait, dude. These things are going to be awesome.
And that rounds out our Driven Racing Oil segment. Again, 50 events on the calendar so far. You can find all of those at dragdriverepeat.com/event list-2026. And again, don't forget to use that code DDR10 for the 10% discount on the Driven Racing Oil website.
Sweet. All right. Well, I'll hit the go button here and we'll talk about some J-Wire stuff.
What's up, guys? My name is Cole from Fort Worth, Texas. Expert car and marine wiring solutions that you can trust. J-Wire Solutions can wire and plumb your hot rod, your race car, hell, even your drag and drive car. Plus, they offer products to make your driving experience way better, like their blinker module that is just a must for all drag and drive cars. This module will allow your rear turn signals to continue to function while the brake pedal is applied, just like stock. Find all the details at jwiresolutions.com.
For sure. And if you guys, again, haven't seen, Jay is posting stuff on their social media channel. So please go over there, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, but you're also going to see some videos that our editor that does all of our stuff here at Drag Driver Pete is helping Jay get his stuff rolling over there as well. So big shout out to Brian.
And when he was on the show last, he was talking about moving into the new shop. And this was posted a little over a week ago on March 30th, but he said, out with the old, in with the new. We have officially moved everything to the new location. Painting is almost done. Electrical work is completed as of this afternoon. So big congratulations to them moving it into a new shop. Super excited for those guys there.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to watch for Chris Paget and the Jack Crawford race to happen.
Perfect. And this was posted. This is going to be pretty awesome. March, Eddyville Raceway. We've got a matchup you won't want to miss June 27th at the Musco Lightning Night of Fire. Bryant Goldstone in the new Corvette taking on Larry Larson in the S10. How about that?
Bring it on. This is what I feel like Drag and Drive needs a little bit of this, like some match racing. Like, that's really what set the drag racing world on fire several years ago. Time to bring it back. Let's go. I'm ready.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see the footage of this. Like, I mean, that's going to be one heck of a drag race right there.
Yeah, our boy Richard Brewer over here, the Dirty Panda himself, is going to be there at the Night of Fire, so he'll be getting us some content. He'll also be at Havlic's as well, so I'm kind of excited about all that.
Yep. And then racer update here. We've got an update on the dry bones here. It says we can swap an engine out in a few hours, they said. They are the same basically, and 20 hours later, dry bones' new engine is in. Still more to do to put breath back into it. Dry bones will now be breathing through an 871 BDS blower into a new 461 Pontiac with a Butler rotating assembly and 4-bolt mains.
Yes, that's awesome.
Yeah, pretty cool. Said just need to figure out the cooling system, less space, so fans may have to be pushing. 4 weeks till Carolina Drag Cruise, and then 666.
Dude, this year is so busy.
Yeah. And a couple more things here. We've got the SICK week being up for the 10 best motorsports events of 2026 by the USA Today. You can vote daily on that. And as of 6 o'clock, when I took this screenshot, SICK week is #1. So I know they made a post earlier that they were sitting in 9th. That jumped up to 3rd, and now it looks like they are all the way up to #1 again. So pretty awesome there. Great for the drag and drive community to be recognized by USA Today.
Well, and to be, I mean, dude, look at the list. There's Daytona 500, Indy 500, King
Bonneville
of the
Speed
Hammers,
Week.
Bonneville Speedway. I mean, dude, there's hitters there, and for us to be for Drag and Drive to be in the middle of that is pretty awesome. So good job to SICK, the magazine.
And the last thing here for the J-Wire segment, this is pretty cool. I don't know if you saw this. Colorado National Speedway is adding an 8th mile drag strip. They said, we are beyond excited to officially announce that we are building a drag strip. This won't be your typical setup. Something special is coming to Colorado National Speedway. While we aren't ready to announce an official opening date yet, that information will be coming very soon, so stay tuned. And you added here that this is only about 30 minutes from Matt Frost, Jason Hurley, Nico Cristofari, and pretty close to Bill Armstrong. So this is going to be a track that's going to get some use.
I mean, talk about a great weekend drag and drive setup. So you have this 8th mile deal. You'll have the new Bandimere Speedway, which will be, I would think, probably an hour and a half from here. And then you have Pueblo, which is just south. I mean, like, dude, that really a 4-day could work pretty well there. Or if you do like some of the other weekend stuff, you unload here and then go to the other tracks and finish here, man. This is awesome. It's awesome to see new tracks being built all around the country. and world, really. I mean, we talk about those a lot. And then to finish out, before we go to the next spot, I do want to give a big shout out to Aaron. He is putting a turbo on the Ranger, Fast Ranger Motorsports. Been sending me some stuff. I've got some plans for an article this week as well about that truck. If you guys will remember, that was 800 horsepower worth of nitrous that he was spraying at Six Summer last year. Now it's going to be a huge by large turbocharger. So it's going to be kind of fun.
Yeah, bring it on.
Yeah. All right.
I'll miss the popping and banging out of that thing though when he's hitting the nitrous, but
dude,
turbos are cool.
Yeah, it's gonna two-step. Like, hang on, he said it's twins. I'm sorry. Wow.
Twins. Even better.
Yeah, that guy's crazy. Him and Luke work on a lot of stuff together, so we're going to actually talk to Luke here about that in just a second. And breaking news, Jack Crawford and Chris Paget will be our 5th race at the circuit. We will get artwork put up for that here shortly because Jack Crawford said Chris said he is down. So this should be pretty fun to see these guys go down. And
that is
quote the immortal words of Dustin Carlington, oh Lord.
That is one heck of a first 5 races to kick off the circuit.
Dude, that's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome.
Should we make them be the first 5 races of each day?
I don't know about that, but that'd be kind of cool. Wow. How fun. All right. Well, let's talk about some Molly stuff, and then we're going to bring in our boy Luke B. Here, I'll hit the play button somewhere in here. There it is.
Looking for a forged piston kit for your vehicle? You need Molly Motorsport Power Pack. What is Power Pack? It's the ultimate forged piston kit that comes complete with pistons, performance file fit rings, hot string steel pins, and clips, all engineered to work together, so all you have to do is build something great. Find your Power Pack at mollymotorsport.com.
So Aaron's saying he would jump in here live with us, but here's the problem. We only have about 30 minutes here. So we're going to go ahead and bring our boy Luke B in. Luke, what is up, homie?
How's it going, guys? Good to see you.
Dude, I'm so excited to hang out with you for a little bit tonight. I was gonna message Aaron back, but I'll just tell him we only have about 25 or 30 minutes here with Luke. So probably don't have time to get you guys in here back and forth like you do, which is awesome. You guys have been on.
Oh yeah. Aaron and I will go off the rails really quick.
That's okay. But we definitely want to do that very soon. So maybe we'll look at Saturday morning or one of the Wednesday nights in the upcoming weeks, because dude, him making the change to turbo is a big deal. I mean, that was big.
Yeah. He wasn't breaking stuff before. He's definitely going to be breaking stuff now.
Yeah. I mean, with twins, especially as big as that one is, that ought to be kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. That thing's going to be serious.
So if for everybody that doesn't know, Luke B is our guy at Howard's Cams. Love Luke. He is a wealth of knowledge, and we're going to ask some camshaft questions here in a minute, but I think that probably leads into one of the best ones is you have a guy going from a big nitrous setup to twin turbos. How does that differ in camshaft and valvetrain?
Going turbocharger with a camshaft is like the best thing you can do for your valvetrain, because you can be so much easier on everything. You're not relying on the engine to do so much anymore. Your power production is all coming from your turbochargers. So your engine at that point is just an air pump / thing that makes heat to drive the turbine wheel. So we can go much smaller on the camshaft in duration and in lift, and that usually equates to dropping valve spring pressure. When you can drop valve spring pressure, you can drop valve spring size, which takes weight out of the system. It just makes everything better. I'm a diehard nitrous guy. I absolutely love nitrous, but it is by far just the most brutal on things out of any power adder out there.
Yeah. If we could figure out how to purge turbo kits, it'd be the best thing in history.
Yeah, that's you put a 50 shot on a button and you purge that out to look cool. And then if the guy's next to you, you can put that 50 shot in.
Yeah. Ask Boo Quamso how that works. He said he was doing that when they were trying to spool the big turbo in Bandamere at one of the Rocky Mountain Race Weeks. And he's like, then we just decided to leave the 50 on all the time. So
yeah. I mean, the nice thing about turbochargers is it almost effectively doubles your shot size because of the way you're changing the atmosphere with the turbos. So a 50 shot equates to about 100 to the tire, which is, it's nice. I mean, you're getting more out of your nitrous, and the whole system is safer. I mean, you're cooling the air charge. Everything is just a lot more contained instead of doing something like Aaron's doing and trying to make sure that 800 horsepower worth of nitrous is getting evenly distributed between 8 cylinders. It's more difficult the more nitrous you start adding in.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Cannot imagine. That's he said I can leave the 2 kits on. Please do that. We would love that very much.
Yep.
And is he still staying stick shift as well? Is he that crazy?
Stick shift and big tire and diaphragm clutch. So just all the wrong stuff the right way.
All the hard way.
Yep. Yep.
Wow. All right. Well, tell us what's been up, man. What do you got going on? What's going on with the Ranger?
I don't know if the Ranger will be out this year. Right now, there is now a T56 in it. So there is no longer a junky little 5-speed in that thing anymore. So the plan is to actually be able to make a consistent pass instead of missing third gear all the time. So it'll have a T56 and a slipper clutch. And there is currently, thanks to Tommy Dupree, who kind of started this whole thing into motion, there is a Summit block at Mike Lowe Racing Engines getting built into a 331 stroker for that thing. So it'll have finally a built engine in it, an aftermarket block, and hopefully not spin rod bearings every other time I take it out too. So instead of living on the edge at 800 horsepower with a stock bottom end, it'll be well over 1,000 whenever I want it to be. So
dude, that's awesome.
That's probably next year, just because it is now April and Mike still has the engine. He's a busy guy. He's helping me out with the engine, so I'm not pushing him to do anything fast with it. But we also have plans to utilize the engine inside Howard. So Icon Pistons stepped in. They're a part of UEM. They make a lot of our shelf pistons for Howard. So they stepped up and gave me a set of pistons for that thing. So we're going to put this thing together and get it on a dyno with kind of a reimagined valve train of what it has. A couple things I've learned over the past couple of years that I want to do differently. And we're going to put it on a dyno and spin it to 8,000 RPMs with a hydraulic roller a couple times just to show people what it looks like. After that, I'm going to take it all apart and show people what the retainers and what the springs and the seats and everything look like, just to show that there are ways of doing this to make it live and function and drive like a street car yet. So that is the plan here. Hopefully this fall, that thing will be on the engine dyno. It's probably only going to make 550, 600 horse, but it's like 9.4 to 1, like a turbo motor. But I mean, it's got some good heads on it, so it'll make some steam. And then we'll put it in the truck with the turbos, put it on a chassis dyno, and get some 4-digit numbers for it for the internets. And then hopefully that thing will be out and about in 2027.
Dude, bring it on. So the circuit 2027 is what we're hearing. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. We'll see. My little guy's getting real into cars, so trying to groom my co-pilot too.
Yeah, that'd be great. How old is he now?
He's 5, so he's got a ways to go, but
it's perfect.
He knows how to hold a wrench. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Can you hold a flashlight?
No, not for Dad. Doesn't matter. Never right for Dad, I promise.
But another one, this is kind of an interesting one that I actually talked to the guy a little bit about today. Howie Price family. They got the big old family truckster. So I didn't even tell him. I forgot to tell him I was going to be on here tonight. But they came to me for a camshaft, and I kind of went the opposite direction of what they thought it was going to go. And not to throw Howie under the bus or anything, but he was totally second guessing me on the camshaft choice, because we went relatively small on the camshaft. Like the thing is down in the 220s at 50 on duration on both the intake and exhaust. So
wow.
For anybody that knows camshafts out there, that's like your Saturday night special camshaft.
Yeah.
But this is a 5,000 pound, very large vehicle that we're trying to get off the line. And they were talking to me about all sorts of problems they were having with trying to get the thing to spool up, and they would get good 60 foots and such, but they were just having to rely on a lot of other things to make the car move. And they got that thing together and running lately, and it was just message after message of, holy crap, man, this thing is insane. And we hopped on the phone today, and apparently the thing will do a burnout on the foot brake and spool up the turbo almost instantly, which is what we were after. They said
Yeah.
it wouldn't even do that on the trans brake before without some sort of ignition strategy. So,
Wow.
I mean, that's probably the third or fourth guy that I've went way smaller on a camshaft with. And I mean, like Rick Stanky, we went smaller on that cam too. And that thing, I don't know if you guys have been watching Little Gangsters and what he's been doing out there, but he's been kicking ass with that car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been cool to watch him do that.
Yeah.
That's badass, dude. Eric, do you want to show him your engine shot there? I don't know if he saw it before the show, before he came on.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
I did the thing that you're not supposed to do, and I looked at the cam bearings and just want to get your opinion. Just want to get your opinion. This was about to get a Howard's cam put in there, and kind of felt like the outside of a football.
Yeah. Yeah, that looks like a cam bearing that's probably good. You looked at it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So thought that was pretty wild. And that right there made me happy that I tore the engine apart to have it looked at, because that would have got the Howard's cam put in it had I not torn it apart and looked at the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, cam bearings, they really seem to just take a pounding. I mean, you really have to have something messed up to screw up a cam bearing, in my experience. But that probably wouldn't have loved that.
No,
I think it's just like oil deposits built up on there. I don't know that it's actually rust or anything, but it was definitely.
Yeah, that looks oil to me. Oil and maybe some carbon. Were you running this engine previously, or is this just a takeout?
I ran it a handful of times, so not a bunch. I had 3 passes on it and, 100 street miles on it, maybe. So not a lot. But it came right out of the junkyard, and I had a turbo on it prior to me getting it.
Yeah, that looks like a junkyard cam bearing.
Exactly.
Yeah. I would be scared to look at the ones in the old truck. So we don't do that.
I will tell you, the ones in my truck do not look great, but they have not given me a problem.
There you go. A couple quick questions here. The bucket list mob says, how about an 800 lift big block Ford A460 headed E85 mechanically injected, naturally aspirated drag and drive car? Did you catch all that?
Anytime you start getting into big lift, there starts to be so many things that come into play. I mean, just look at Aaron Garrett Gerke and look at how many rockers that guy breaks. That's just starts to become something that happens. Every valve train part becomes a wear item when you really, really want to start leaning on stuff like that. There are ways around it. It takes a lot of time and a lot of math to get to that. So stuff that's big lift, you usually want to start leaning towards like an Inconel exhaust and a titanium intake valve just to get weight out of it. You want the smallest diameter spring you can get that has the right frequency. Everything you can do to take weight out of the system is how you're going to make something like that live. So anytime you try to make valvetrain light, valvetrain gets expensive. So you can do 800 lift, spin at less RPM maybe, or we can look at the CFM demand of what you're actually trying to do and see if it actually needs 800 lift. A lot of times, just because a flow number looks real good at a certain lift point doesn't necessarily mean we need to go there. We just need to give the engine enough to do whatever your goal is.
Yeah, he said he has a 20-year-old cam in it now. He said, is ramp rate tech better than it was?
Yeah, ramp rate tech. I mean, there's a lot of different ways they call it, but all of that is changing all of the time. So these guys that are designing lobes per car, so like, for instance, Nick Reinhardt that works with us at Competition Products, his cam was a one-off deal. The lobes were designed specifically for his car by a very, very smart gentleman in the industry. Stuff like that is designed on case-by-case basis to just make sure that that combination is going to work to its maximum potential. And every time you do that, you learn something. So all those guys that are doing stuff like that and pushing the envelope, the stuff that ends up on the shelves that are like standard part numbers for Comp and Howard's and all of that technology flows downstream. So eventually we get it. So all of that is expanding all the time. I will say that something that's 20 years old is probably aggressive as hell. There are much, much more gentle things nowadays that will accomplish the same job. And a lot of times they're going to have a little bit more duration from end to end too. So a little bit more valve open time equates to a little bit softer opening and closing. It just, everything kind of just starts to get better.
Yeah, and I think this is probably the most important comment. He said it made 910, but I feel it could be more reliable. I mean, this is if I know those guys, this is a street car and one that they intend or are driving on the street all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was another conversation with Howie Price today, is that he was saying he was watching YouTube videos of this camshaft and that camshaft. And he's like, I just don't feel like the numbers on the camshaft you gave me are going to make the horsepower number. And I'm like, well, first of all, you have a turbo. So the horsepower number is derived from the turbo, not the engine and the camshaft. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Turn it up. That's all that matters.
One more click.
And also, how much, if you make peak power at 6,800 and that's where you shift, you're there for a microsecond. You're there for a couple tenths, if that. We don't really care about how much power it's making at the end of the RPM band, when we're going to spend 75-80% of that car's time on the strip in 2,000 RPMs below that and on up. So we want to make sure we're making the most average horsepower through that range too. So that's a big reason a lot of my camshafts get smaller than what people want in there too, just because we want to make sure the bulk of that power band is where they're actually using that power band.
Bro, you're dropping knowledge. Because I mean, like, if you think about it, if you're making 40 more horsepower across the board, who cares if you make 40 less at total peak?
Yeah. I did a sprint car on the East Coast a couple of years ago. Very competitive team, always did well. Came to me. I told them that if it was my car, I'd turn it about 800 less RPMs, gear it accordingly, and put a smaller camshaft in it. And they said, grind me something. And they went and put the engine on the dyno after we made the cam for them, and it made 9 less horsepower than the cam that was about 12 degrees bigger in duration. And it picked up 15 average horsepower, which in a spec engine sprint car that's a lot of power. And they set fast lap at every single race they went to last year.
That's awesome.
Nice.
See, Luke B, that's what you got to do. He has another question. He says, bearing or bushing or bearing roller. What's that mean?
As far as lifters, I assume. A lot of people will stray away from needle bearings, and I understand why. If they do fail, you have a problem on your hands. A lot of the needle bearing failures that I see are usually all 842 diameter Chevy stuff, whether it's big or small block. So you're looking at the smallest diameter lifter out there. And generally, if it's a big block Chevy, they're getting leaned on probably about the hardest out there. So you're taking this small little package of a lifter and trying to give it all this headroom, right? So if you put a bushing in there, it kind of takes a little bit of the guesswork out, but the bushings do wear. So that's why companies like us and Iski and Comp, we offer rebuilding services on those, because probably every season, if you're running that thing hard, you probably want to get bushings put in it. Unless you got something real thought out like Rich Guido, and his stuff just lasts. But that goes back to putting all that time and effort into figuring out the weights of all the parts to make sure they're moving appropriately in the engine, and the cam lobe design is spec for that as well. So if you can do something like a 904 or even like a larger Ford lifter, that takes a little bit of the load away. It puts the load more into the lifter bore instead of down through the needles. That'll help keeping the needle bearing thing alive. And then just keep in mind what the engine is. So if you built something that you want to turn 7,500, and then you figure out that it starts going faster when you turn it $8,000, make sure that everything you did is supposed to go 8,000 RPMs. I mean, there's camshaft lobes out there that'll say, don't turn this more than 7,400 or 7,500. So when you do something like that, just be aware of the parts that you have and make sure that everything is still going to work together cohesively.
Man, that's awesome. I feel like you've expanded my brain. Again, every time you're on here, dude, I feel like I get smarter. But you're still the guy I'm gonna call
I
when
tell you
need
guys
something.
every time. I feel like I get so many calls from people that are just off in left field on camshaft stuff. So the more we can just kind of pull back the cover on how this stuff actually works and be upfront and honest about what you need to do to make an engine do X, Y, Z. I mean, it's going to do nothing but help you and help us. I mean, people think I'm giving away secrets, but we've been doing race cars for, Howard's have been in business for over 75 years now. So there's a way a small block Chevy cam can be spec'd as far as like cam card specifications. It's all been thought of. Like there's nothing breaking, nothing on the edge that we're doing when we're speccing a camshaft as far as duration, lift, and lobe separation. That's out of this world. What we're trying to do is just make the parts work together well. So the more information I can give out about that, it's going to do nothing but help everybody.
And I think a lot of times, and I don't know this from everybody, but I know that like, oh, hey, so-and-so used this cam and they said they liked it. So I'm going to use this one.
Yeah, that's a huge
that
trap.
happens a lot.
Yeah, because so-and-so used that cam. The car is 1,000 pounds different in weight. They run a different size tire. It's a stick shift versus a converter. It's got a different turbocharger on it. It's no longer the same car. So you can't compare apples to apples like that. I hate to say that every car needs a custom camshaft, but in a sense, every car is going to want a different camshaft for the most part.
Yeah, but for the most part, like, because you and I have had this conversation too, like 99.3% of people don't need every last piece of horsepower.
Yeah.
Most of us just need a good driving cam.
Right. Yeah. And that goes right back to what I was saying before is that, if you're making peak power at 6,800, but you spend most of the time from 54 to 66 while you're going down the track, then who cares what it makes at 6,800? Let it make all its power where you're using the power and it needs to be.
Yeah. Don't bring your logic in here, sir. We don't play that.
We have angry emails tomorrow.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up. Because it's going to take you a minute to answer, but give us 2 tips. What's 2 tips that people need to know for picking a cam?
The biggest 2 things that I always struggle with guys when they call is know what you're trying to do. So if you want to make a certain horsepower number, have that in your head and know what RPM band you want this thing to work in. So if you want this big bad engine and a big bad camshaft, but you want to drive the thing down the street and go get ice cream and then take it to the track twice a year, you don't really want a big bad camshaft. I can make 500 horsepower with something that's 220s, 230s at 50 with mild cubic inch. So have your ideals, I guess, planned out. So make sure you know what your true expectations of this engine are that you're putting together, and whether it's a car or boat or whatever it is, and try not to deviate from that, because as soon as you start deviating from it, then you end up with a bunch of mismatched parts, and we all know how that goes. We've all built that car once.
Oh yeah. I want to make 800 to 1,000 horsepower, dude. That's a big swing.
Yeah, I had a guy call the other day that had a 520-inch big block Chevy with twin S480s and wants to make 2,000 horsepower on E85. And you have to find the nicest way possible to tell these people what they're trying to do is basically build like a Pro Mod, NHRA Pro Mod level engine, because that's how tight everything's going to need to be to make that much power on those constraints. So being realistic about power numbers and the parts that you have go a long way.
Right. And you're like, hey, what do you put that in? He's like, oh, 67 GTO that I'm going to drive on the street all the time.
Yep.
Really
He literally said 50% street, 50% track. And I'm like, love it. I'm going to give you a camshaft. That's what you're asking for. But I promise you, it's not the camshaft you're going to want.
Yeah. That's tough. Wow. Eric, what have I forgotten to ask him?
I think that was everything on the list.
Yeah.
So the fun thing, just a real quick fun story. You've helped Eric tremendously. Howard's Cam is now running the old truck because my brother just completely annihilated the engine at Rocky Mountain Race Week Mega Week last year. So we're running Howard's everywhere over here at Drag Driver Pete, and hopefully we'll see Eric's car. The plan I think you and I and Eric talked about was like going 10-0s first and then kind of doing the like, hey, if you were building a car to run 10-0s and then go to 850 stuff, like don't necessarily start at 850 because we don't need to be there yet. We don't need too much cam because I know Eric, he's going to turn it up. That's what's going to happen. So I think that's going to be a fun learning lesson for us, like how the cam affects all of that and converter and everything that will be changing going between, because those two times, while they're only a second and a half apart, that's like miles.
It's a good bit of horsepower between those two numbers.
Yeah, so that's going to be kind of fun to learn, and on our side, I think it's going to be a blast to spend more time on the phone with you and all that kind of cool stuff. So,
For sure.
Where can people follow you? Where can people see all the cool stuff you're doing? How do they get in contact with you?
Yep. So Luke B at howardscams.com is my email address. 920-230-4255 is my direct phone number. So you can reach me anytime, Central Time, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. At those two places, and then obviously Howard's Cams on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to see my my little stuff that I do on the side, Lukey B Speed and Service on Instagram.
Awesome, dude. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for coming on tonight. It's always awesome to talk to you. I do feel like I'm smarter when we leave here, and I'm going to have to go back and watch this like 2 or 3 times, which I hope people do later on. Because big shout out to Brian. He'll be cutting this down into like segments, and we'll have people arguing in the chat, and it's going to be great, man. Thanks a bunch.
It'll be awesome.
All right,
Thanks,
Luke,
guys.
buddy.
Yep. See you.
See ya.
Later. Dude, how fun! Like,
Oh yeah.
how far dumb do you think that guy's got to talk that stuff down to get to my level? Like,
I mean,
is he like
it's
trying to explain stuff, but he's like, you're an idiot.
yeah. It's he's got a lot of knowledge, which is awesome.
Well, I think that's what's cool about having the access we do from, I mean, obviously Howard's is a sponsor, but Luke is a friend, so that helps us like, as far as like sending a question on in a evening or an afternoon or something like that, he typically will answer me back on like, hey, you should really probably do this. So again, big shout out to him. Thanks for coming on tonight and do all that stuff. And just like the bucket list mob says, I'm impressed. Should be.
Yeah.
Luke B's awesome.
Oh, he better be prepared for some questions when I get my block back, because
yeah, it's time. I mean, like I'm ready for that setup to be there and be out there making power and all that kind of cool stuff. Again, thanks to Molly Motorsports, big time supporters of all things drag and drive, and of course, not just sponsors but also racers as well. Eric Grillo's 10-second stick shift Nova. You can typically find it at Rocky Mountain Race Week. And then, of course, George Wright's 700 plus horsepower Duster that he takes to Drag Week. So great dudes. And if you have questions about any piston stuff, they can obviously help you out there as well. I'll let you do this and then we'll run in. We'll bring Ned on here momentarily.
all right. Appreciate everybody that's been here with the first half of the show, all the comments, Bucket List Mob, bringing all the comments for Luke B at Howard's. Appreciate all of that. Again, appreciate all of our race car friends and look forward to the season kicking off to get to hang out with all of you. And again, can't do this without all of our sponsors: Summit Racing Equipment, Deechworks, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Howard's Cam, J-Wire Solution, AFCO Racing Products, Performa-Built Transmission, Car Chains 3D, Low Dollar Motorsports, Power Tube TV, and Racing Junk. And Bucket List said, I need new lifters and maybe a cam.
Bring it on, buddy. We know who to talk to. All right. Well, Deechworks, like we said earlier, let me do this ad read, and then we're going to talk about all the cool shit they have going on. Deechworks is a leading manufacturer of high-performance fuel system components. The DW product line includes fuel injectors, pumps, rails, regulators, filters, lines and fittings, plus surge tanks and pump modules, all engineered to support power levels ranging from 400 to what you're going to see in just a minute, 4,000 horsepower. With a focus on engineering excellence and industry-leading customer support, DeechWorks drives the future of high-performance fueling. You can find everything deechworks.com. And of course, when you're in there picking out your new entire fuel system before the season kicks off, use code DDR10 for a 10% discount. And then I don't have a photo of it because they posted up a reel, but Mark Campbell posted earlier, new product drop coming tomorrow, meaning tomorrow from tonight. The DeechWorks team has been working hard, and we have some awesome stuff coming. 4,000 horsepower brushless fuel systems. That's pretty badass. I love the brushless stuff. Carbureted stuff, got that too. New injector program, yep, got that going. 2,300 horsepower BMW fuel system, yes please. 2,500 horsepower Gen 3 Hemi fuel filter system, believe it, they got that too. And a bunch more, all dropping tomorrow. So if you're watching this, April 9th is the day. Be watching deechworks.com. Also DeechWorks on all of the social media stuff. All right. Well, speaking of 4,000 horsepower, let's bring in the man that probably makes that much horsepower, Mr. Ned Dunphy. How are you this evening, sir? What kind of power does the Viper make?
Oh, we're going right at it, huh? Good evening. I mean, no secrets kept here. So,
yeah.
I think you can do the math probably on the time slip and the mile per hour, but we have got to be just under that 4,000 mark with the current combo. And we're making a change for Drag Week coming up this year. We're swapping out turbos in partnership with Precision, pulling off our old Gen 2 102s and going with the new XPR 98s, a little bit quicker spool, and going to try to get after the front of the track a little bit quicker this year.
Dude, that's insane. Okay. Welcome. Thank you for giving us that info. Appreciate that. Everybody should be scared now. For folks that don't know, maybe they live under a rock. If they're watching our stuff, they know who you are. But Ned Dunphy is the man, quickest guy in drag and drive. Reset a 10-year-old record from Jeff Lutz. It's been pretty cool, man. We got to spend some time together, a little bit more time. I made it a point to go by and bother you during drag week. It was always super fun to go by and see you guys working hard on the car and then go up and just make stellar passes. So thanks for being on tonight. But the one question I think I probably have the most is, what does a guy like you that has a Pro Mod, that has a 4,000 horsepower Viper, what do you daily drive?
Yeah, so good question. I often get the question, do you have a lot of speeding tickets? And the answer is no. So get it out of my system on the drag strip. I do a little bit of road coursing, which really does quench the need for speed. But to be honest with you, I'm fortunate enough to have several cars. And, being a car guy, and we'll go through that in a little bit, I kind of pick a car for the day. So, Mondays is I get to the office. It's kind of a serious day. I've got a really cool 2016 GMC Z71 pickup truck. It's a 1,500 short bed regular cab, which is kind of rare. And it's black on black, so very pretty. But I take that up and down the road. It's also my parts runner truck to bring motors back and forth, transmissions, fuel cans, etc. So that's the Monday, take it to the office serious car. Tuesday, awesome. Wednesday might be airport. You got to go park down in chaos and worry about door dings. And so believe it or not, my little push car that I use in the drag racing, the Scion IQ, I'll bomb that down the highway here in Atlanta, park it anywhere I can fit it in the airport and not worry if it's there or not when I get back. So
yes.
It's perfect.
Awesome.
So let's say Wednesday, going to go out with clients or colleagues for lunch, and I've got a Cayenne Turbo E Hybrid, which is the best sleeper car out there. It looks like a regular old Cayenne, but it's 729 horsepower. Seats 5 people, and I think it 0 to 60 like 2.9 with that electric and twin turbo combo. It's bad to the bone.
Yeah, that's badass.
Yes, and then let's say Thursday's a fun day, so lighter meeting schedule. Today, for instance, I have a 2018 991.2. It's a GT2 RS, but that sounds like, ooh, wow. This one was road coursed hard. I have had it in road coursed as well. So I'd say it's a 30,000 mile, very well driven GT2 RS that I'll take and park in the office parking spot when I'm not going to be seeing clients.
That's awesome.
And then Friday's sort of a half day with Atlanta traffic, get in, try to get out for the afternoon. I have a 2023 992.1, which is a Turbo S, and it's red with gold rims, gold stripe. And that car I ended up trading up, starting with a 13 to a 17 to finally the 23. And that is just an awesome Friday car because, it rides quiet, but you put the pedal down in Sport Plus mode, and I might as well be in my race car for the speed.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What a week, man.
Pretty good. Yes, that's the week. Then we get to Saturday, Sunday, where it's, still trying to decide, do I take the Viper for a little ride, which my wife's done with me a couple times. This is the drag and drive blue and white Viper, and she hated it. We're 10 miles in, and she's like, Jay, who's my co-pilot, he can have the passenger seat. I don't want it. And out she goes. So that's the end of it.
Yeah. She's like, it looks really cool on paper, not as cool in person.
No, the smell.
Not for a date night.
No. And you can't get out of the bars and everything else. It's miserable. So not a date night car. Not at all.
Dude, that's crazy. Well, I want to talk, like, one question that I love to ask is 11-year-old Ned, is he a car guy? Like, is he kind of into all that stuff?
He was a go-kart guy. And then 15-year-old Ned became a car guy. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so, very short version here, my grandfather worked up behind Epping Speedway in New Hampshire. And so they'd have these events on Saturdays. They'd go up there and they'd do their circle track. I think it's a quarter-mile pavement. And in the middle, they do demolition derbies, and they have these stuntmen come. Well, on Sunday morning, when the track was done, there was a bunch of wrecked cars up there. So my grandfather let us go, and we'd take our go-karts, run them around the little track at Epping, and then try to get the old junk boxes started. And if we did, you run them for 20 minutes till they overheat and shut them off. But that got me hooked going from go-karts into real cars. So enter high school, and junk boxes to start. A $50 Ford Futura, 1978, freeze plug fell out of it, motor seized. And then I finally bought myself a cool car, 1980 Z28 Camaro, and I thought I was the king of the town. Yeah. And from there, what we do is we use my mother's credit card, order parts from Summit Racing, which, by the way, I love it. They're a sponsor of your show. And by the way, they featured me on one of their order parts catalog about a month ago. I ordered some parts, and there's my car on the cover of the Summit catalog. I was like, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, I'd be in debt with them halfway through, my summer every year, and have to work it off to pay my mother back for the parts my brother and I ordered on Summit Racing as kids.
That's great, man. That's great. Big shout out to your mom.
Yeah,
for letting you
absolutely.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah. We always joked that when we were kids, like my brother and I, it was Hot Wheels the minute we got to the store, or magazines, and she'd always let us get some of that stuff. So that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Like John said previously, right, it's doing the right thing the wrong way. That was my entire high school mechanical resume right there.
How fun.
I actually have that Summit catalog hanging behind me.
Oh, yeah. It's a great shot.
Yeah.
So with that, what was your first car? I think, did you just mention it? Was it the Ford?
Yeah, it was
Futura?
The Ford Futura, and after that one died, I shared a Fairmont wagon with my mom, right? So by the way, I'm not that old. I'm 51. I'll put it out there. So high school driving for me was, let's see, 1989, 1990, 1991, those years. And so these were 1978, 1980 cars back then. They're already old. So when I got my first Camaro, which was really cool, it was that 350 with the little flaps that moved on the hood. It was a black one with the red, yellow stripes, but the doors would sag. The windows wouldn't roll up straight. The thing stunk, just mold and everything on the inside. But that was my car. And so the motor seized on me from beating on it, I'm quite sure. And my dad brought me home a junkyard motor, which we cleaned off with gasoline. It happened to be a 4-bolt main motor, put it in there, and then started with like the Edelbrock intake. I put stickers on the windows, so Moroso spark plug wires. And I had 12-inch Moroso stickers down the side of the car, like a drag car. Probably driving around at 250 horsepower and knocking and pinging because I had no idea how to set lift or lash, anything like that. So what a great car to start on, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah. And from there,
what was your first race car then?
The first race car was the 2014 Dodge Viper TA, the orange one. And I think a lot of people have confused the blue car with the orange car, like I painted it. They're two separate cars, to be clear. And the orange car, so that car I purchased 1 year old. It had decent mileage on it, had been a road course car. And I took it to Vengeance Racing to build it into a half-mile car, right? And half-mile has not done a lot lately. I know they're still running events down out of Texas, and I think there might even be a couple out west events. But Shift Sector is running the events now. It used to be Wanna Go Fast. So we were hooked on Wanna Go Fast because they ran around the Southeast, Indiana, North Carolina. There was even North Georgia at an airport. There was an accident, of course, somebody got killed, and so the airport started drying up as far as venues go. But that half mile was addictive. So that orange Viper went into Vengeance. We talked about what it would be, and we started off a little baby. I think it was twin 68s, and I wanted 1,000 wheel horsepower and flames out the exhaust. So I got that. And over the next decade of playing with half-mile stuff, the car progressed into twin. I think it went away with 94 precision turbos on it. And I sold it to a gentleman named Matt Hansen. Matt just won, by the way, in March, Texas 2K Streetcar Pro Class with it, which I was super proud because I went to 2K. I'm swinging for the fences, going after Brett LaSalle and all these other guys. Went in the unlimited class, got spanked. So never got there. And my quest was to go a 699 in that car. And the best I ever did was a 701, 702, 701. It was like the albatross around my neck. I couldn't get through it. But that car got me hooked because we then started taking it to the drag strip, right? And half mile was fun for just top speed. But then it was on a stick shift. So to this day, and someone can fact check me, I think I still hold the world record for a manual transmission Gen 5 Dodge Viper. I know, pocket record galore and all that sentence I just said. But it was like an 866 and 170 or something like that. And that was doing no lift shift, just keep the pedal on the floor. We had a little timing blip in there between the gears. And I broke that car from front to back to front, meaning transmission, drive shafts, half shafts, back to the transmission, back to the motor. And so we finally ended up with Steve Morris. And Steve took the V10 and did some work in the deck, right? Because clamping on those V10s is really terrible. There's not a lot of room for the bolts, so they're relatively small. Lots of water jackets for cooling because they're road course cars. And so he did some decking and some filling between the head and the block, which really shorted up, and then did like the NHRA style fire hoops and rings. So we could put 45, 50 pounds of boost to it and not push coolant into the motor or vice versa. And we were actually very successful with that combo. So then we started dig racing off the button with an automatic transmission, and it was fun, but I wasn't fitting any classes, right? So I've been asked, why did I sell the car? And it's, well, I started building the blue. Let me start with the orange Viper. We wanted to go to a SMX because we met Steve at PRI, and we looked at the frame and said, this thing's going to twist itself up like a beer can with an SMX in it on a stock Viper chassis. But why butcher that car? So I bought another car, which is the blue one, and we butchered that one and turned it into basically a 25.3 chassis, and then stuck the SMX in that with the goal of drag and drive. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. So anyways, I can keep on going, but that's, this is an addiction. You modify, you improve, keep buying and adding parts, want to go faster. And I didn't lose interest in the orange car. I just changed my target racing, and the orange car didn't fit the target racing.
I think that leads right into the like Viper history. I think that probably let's just let it do that. So you have the orange car. It's doing great, but not what you necessarily want. So was there some overlap while you built the blue car, and who built the blue car?
Yeah, so there was some overlap. The blue car, I got a sweet deal on this car, and I should have bought a bunch of them. Pre-COVID, you could get a Viper at a reasonable price. And so I'll just share, I paid $65,000. That's car number 75 of 150, launch edition 2013 Gen 5 Viper. So the purists are mad at me because the first thing we did was took that car all the way apart down to the nuts and bolts. And a guy came out of the woodwork from the internet and bought all of my parts that we weren't going to use from me for one lump sum price. And I could have got more if I did the piecemeal, but I didn't have the time and energy to sell, a window, a hood, a door, whatever. Yep. And so working with Vengeance Racing, they said, look, we don't do the chassis work, but there's another shop nearby, which is Rakestraw, RK Racecraft. And so we went up and had an introduction meeting with Ryan. Ryan, he's a turnkey shop, does a lot of the big cars out there for NHRA, Pro Mod. His name is everywhere. And so this was a sort of a one-off request, and he took me on. Right. So he said, yeah, I'll give it a try. It's going to take some time, though, because they basically took that stock Viper all the way back down to the body panels. When we stretched the nose a little bit because it's a really short wheelbase on a stock Viper, they have to get the cage built into the stock dimensions, but we wanted to keep all appearances like a regular Viper. So the reason for the 5 zoomies on the side versus the turbo horns is to hide a little bit of the stretch in the car. Otherwise, there'd be a 6-inch pipe coming out and a big giant door. So he did a real good job hiding that. Their work is top notch. Also, to get a chassis that's going to actually work with the power level that we're putting at the car. And so RK did all the chassis work, and we've had this SMX waiting, like it sat in a crate for literally 2.5 or 3 years while the car was being deconstructed and reconstructed. Things take time, right? Bucks and molds on the hoods, because the whole thing is carbon fiber. I had to buy a couple of sets of doors because we wanted one for lightweight, we wanted one for street with windows. And all of a sudden it just came together. And so we missed drag week 23 because the car was still under construction, and drag week 24. No, scratch that. We missed 22. We previewed in 23 with the car. And so it was meant to be a drag and drive car. And we'll talk about the results of 23, 24, 25. But in between, I also put the car in radial format. Right, so I saw someone online ask today about would I ever take it off the floppies. The car spent 2 seasons on radials, and we came in 8th. And Donald Long Duck runs the radial outlaw class down here in the Southeast. So in year 1 we were 8th in the class, and then the class keeps getting quicker and quicker. The second year we came in 3rd, which we were pretty darn proud of, because the quickest the car had been was a 371, and that class now runs mid 340s. So it was time to retire from the radial class with that car. The turbos just wasn't competitive. My wheelbase wasn't competitive, and I was 200 pounds overweight at my lightest. So it just didn't fit. My wife also, Stacy, she's been saying, like, why don't you just put one car in one mode and leave it, right? And so I took her advice. Now this thing is 100% drag and drive. We're not messing with it. It's not going to radials. It's staying in street and drag strip trim.
Well, and the longer something's together like that, the better it gets. Like, you just learn the nuances. You learn, it's more seat time in the same scenario. That's pretty awesome.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah. The partnerships are building too, so, Steve has got an amazing product with these water block, 481s and the setup for the street. Proline Engines, who's right by my house, they support me on the Pro Mod program with my other car. And, they said, let's take a look at the motor for you. We want to see if we can do some things. And also, this is the drag and drive community. Larry Larson shared a lot of information with Proline, which was great. And I heard your previous guest talking about like the valves, and that's exactly right. We're running the Inconel on the exhaust, and we're running titanium on the intake, right? There are different dimensions on each one of them, because we were finding our first year, we were fighting valve float. That's why we knocked that intake through the hood one day. We have to limit our RPM, which is fine because the turbo can make up the difference for the power. And so also I can put the engine in the back of my truck and drive it to Proline, 17 miles away.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. So to have I love, conglomeration. Everybody's in it together. So it's Steve's parts, Steve's motor. Proline is servicing and maintaining it for me. It's nearby. And at the end of the day, we're all on the same team here. Love having this SMX out there doing what it does. And I can tell you right now, it's back at Proline getting improved again, because we're testing the spring for Drag Week 26. And the goal, it's 5s, right? That is the goal.
Yeah. We love that, man. That's awesome. How many times do people say, oh, let's still got the V10 because it has the 5 exhaust dumps?
Oh, that's one of the greatest things with the hood on and people walking up on it. It takes a 1 look, a 2 look, a 3 look. And then some of the car guys getting down on their hands and knees to look under the hood, to see what's going on. For the guys that I'm racing, typically they got time in the lanes to figure it out where they're not, on the staging. They know I have to get up on boost before I bump in, but it absolutely catches people off guard. And it's nuts, right? The 5-pipe was an improvement over year number 1, which was a 4-pipe. We were having back pressure on the turbos. So putting that 4th tube on there, because we use 4 of them as exhaust and 1 of them as the wastegate for the total of 5, it double combos, right? Which is the V10 look-alike. And also we don't have the back pressure anymore off the turbo. And we don't have a big, ugly bullhorn shin banger. We have pipes that actually are very aerodynamic, plus give us the downforce we need on boost.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even have thought about the downforce side of the angle and all that, because that's it makes sense in Pro Mod with all the stuff we do with Midwest. Like, it makes sense going there. Yeah, wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, one thing in our messaging back and forth, we were talking about one car that you're probably the most excited about or the most proud of. So while you tell us about what it is, I want to go ahead and bring up this photo here real quick. So tell us how you get these cars to the track.
Yeah. So I do all my own driving, right? And this is it here. It's a 2016 Peterbilt 389 long nose, a 45.5-foot bumper to bumper on the truck, and the trailer itself's another 40 plus. So she's 92 tip to toe, a little over 80,000 pounds. But with all the race, this is my toy. I spend more time tinkering with this thing, even though it doesn't need anything, double air horns and we put lights underneath it. It's all LED blue. My first one was a beat up old 2003 Freightliner that had been somebody else's project for a million years. And it was a broken generator. The toilet didn't work. The refrigerator goes out halfway through a race and all your food rots. So I didn't go from, 2002 to 2026. I went to 2016 because these things have an epic entry price. But having this one that's already been seasoned a bit, but is mechanically sound, is awesome. And, let's say my drag car is, 4,000 horsepower with whatever torque. This thing is the reverse. It's only 600 horsepower with 2,000 foot-pounds of torque, but that's a lot in the big diesel world. So
yeah, this thing is freaking badass, dude.
Thank you.
Like,
Thank you.
I want one of these so bad. Like, so I'm sure you've seen the setup that Tommy and those guys have at Summit with the open back for all their merch and all that kind of and parts and
Mhm.
stuff. That's really what I want bad, right? Is that kind of setup. But
Mhm.
like I need it to look like this.
Well, get good grades, work hard, stay in school, Mike, and you'll be there one day.
Yeah. Yeah. This thing is killer looking, dude. And I'm sure I've seen it in the pits. I just never knew that it was yours. It's a great looking truck, man.
Well, my whole sales pitch to the wife was I don't have to pay for hotels anymore because we have this rig. Well, that rig probably pays for the rest of my life of hotels. But
Yeah. Yeah, you can't do the math on that. It doesn't make any sense, I promise.
Oh no. And with $5 a gallon on the diesel pump, I am not looking forward to the next drive up the hill in that truck at all.
Yes. Wow. All right. Well, as we kind of wrap up this little segment here, I want you to run through what's drag and drive history for you? How many events have you done? Which ones and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I'm a newcomer compared to some of these, seasoned folks. So we're still having a blast. And I'll tell you, first race hooked us right away, right? The fellow racers, the sharing of parts, the what can we do to help, the folks that follow the event, not just the guys that are driving down the road with you, but like on the side of the road, the families having fire pits at the end of their driveway, waiting for you to come by over an 8-hour span. People waiting at checkpoints to take a picture, like, can I sit in your car? That's super cool. And I do the Pro Mod racing. However, everybody comes up to me and says, is the Viper here? Or aren't you the guy that does drag and drive? When I do the drag and drive, no one says, are you the Pro Mod guy? So that might change with all the press that Pro Mod's getting, but I'm telling you, this drag and drive stuff put us on the map as far as people recognizing the car and, being excited to see it.
That's awesome.
So 23 was our debut year, right? And that's we started, I think it was Darlington and ran around the Southeast. And I did not have my NHRA license. And so that was my bad, showing up unlicensed. And Lonnie Grims and the tech guys were super cool. Like, look, we're going to let you run, but you're not turning in a time slip, below 20. And so we went out there, and I don't remember the numbers we were running. They were probably upper sixes, bottom sevens, because the car was still, new to us. But I had to turn in a 20, and a 20, and a 20, and a 20. And so, ironically, I think the only slip I turned in was on day 5 after we had blown the intake manifold off from the backfire. We duct taped it on, and I wasn't allowed to give it any boost. So I went down the track at 70 miles an hour. But I think I did a 19 that day. And so let me turn that one. Anyways.
Yeah, duct tape, silicone, and 3 screws, I think. How many miles did you drive with the intake like that?
So all the way from it was House of Hook out there in Aiken, South Carolina, back to Darlington. And I don't know if that was a 100 or 150 mile leg that they decided to make you wind through the woods. And my crew chief and partner, Jay Clegg, he's like 2,000 RPM. He's like, don't make an ounce of boost on this thing. So like coming out of red light, just easy, coast, neutral, easy. That was the longest drive of our life, hoping that thing holds on.
Yeah, I was out talking to the Deal brothers, I think, maybe Nick Deal. I was out talking to him, or maybe David Deal, and you guys come pulling in at like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. We were like, both of us just hooping and hollering, screaming because you guys had made it. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, Mike, it's funny you said. I do remember there was an audience in the parking lot where people like clapping, were like, "Holy cow, these guys are still up!" And that's another thing. People were happy to see us versus like, "Oh darn, he made it." That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's pretty neat, man. It was that's a crazy time. Well, that'll kind of wrap up our Detroit segment. Again, big shout out to them. Thank you to Mark, who is now signed up to do the 4th race of the circuit and is taking on Brian Acton. So it's going to be kind of fun. Eric, you want to lead us into some Performer Built transmission stuff?
Absolutely. Performer Built is the official transmission builder of the Drag Drive Repeat show at Performer Built Transmissions. The goal is to engineer and build the toughest transmissions on the planet. Performer Built doesn't just rebuild transmissions, they systematically re-engineer each model to eliminate OEM flaws and to achieve the highest levels of performance. That is why they say their transmissions are not just built, they are Performer Built.
All right. Well, I want to talk about some Hot Rod Drag Week stuff in this segment here and kind of go over, obviously, your record-setting run in 2025. I'll let Eric take over and talk some. I feel like I chewed your ear off last time.
No worries. So let's first talk about how did you meet your co-pilot, Jay?
Yeah. So Jay was working at Vengeance when I went up there on the initial Viper build. And we went under the car, put it on the lift. Asked him, can you build this? This is the orange Viper. And they looked and he said yes. And so I didn't know Jay from anybody, but over the next decade, going to all the half-mile events together, he was always responsible for the car. He basically, inside of engines, helped fabricate everything from all the chassis fabrications, put the motor in. He was tuning on the car for me through Vengeance Racing, and him and I just hit it off. We both never have a bad day together, right? That's really important because drag week can test patience and test, your stamina, your hunger, your sleep. He is a robot, and I say that respectfully, which means if he gets 2 hours of sleep or 8 hours of sleep, he still functions the same during the day, and incredibly meticulous, right? So if I had to trust somebody before I let go of the button in the car, are the nuts and bolts tight, and is the parachute good? If Jay's looked at the car, the answer is yes. And so we just hit it off, and it's been a match made because he doesn't run towards the camera. I'll take that job. He'd rather get on the car, and he will. It's not being rude. He's got stuff to do. We have a mission. He's turning the car, and he's like, "Ned, guys are here with the cameras. Go talk to him." Like, I'll deflect for him. But at the end of the day, I like to think I'm a good driver. So if he gives me instruction on what to do, when to do, or even the old butt dyno when you get out, like what did you feel and when? He's learned to translate my playback to him on it. Shook right here. It made a noise. It popped. It felt like it leaned over to go to the log and put it all back together. And so the first drag week we did was an eye opener. We had no idea how little sleep it was. We had no idea that little baby trailer is horrifying because your whole life is in there and like you forgot everything you need as soon as you pull out of the parking lot. Right. So that was like one of those major like mental head games. But we got through it, and the duct tape and bubblegum fixes are real, right? It really does happen on drag week. You borrow parts, you're trying to make one thing work, you bypass something you don't think you need anymore. So Jay is the master of all that. So I wouldn't have anybody else in the passenger seat. And late night you drive sometimes for 10 hours, pitch dark, from checkpoint to checkpoint, someone that's keeping you awake, making sure that you're not falling asleep. Like he can outwork me any day of the week. So I love having another energetic guy in the car with me.
Man, that's so awesome. Let me ask you one thing. When you went to pull out the first time that you guys had the car hooked up and the trailer hooked up, and you've made your pass on day one and you feel great, you're like, man, we've done something. You may have turned in a 20, but hey, you're leaving. What did that feeling feel like when you left the parking lot at that moment?
Well, we came out and we turned the wrong way. So we did a U-turn about a mile later, right? So frustration immediately. Number two, we can't hear each other. So what are we going to do? And the engine's loud. We didn't think about the comms between events because we really never went out and drove around together and said like left and right. And, you got a piece of paper, at least old school, because the maps kind of go stale on the navigation. And half the fun is navigating like you're Christopher Columbus looking at the stars, through these back roads. So exhilaration and fear and frustration. It took us a good couple of hours on the road to calm down and settle. And then you do realize that as you're going up, there's 20 cars to the next gas station. There's 30 cars to the next gas station. People were with you along the way. You felt like you were alone when you first left, and you realize that next 6 to 7 hours is a parade of other racers.
That's awesome.
So let's do a little bit of kind of recap of your 2025 drag and drive season. So obviously you had a tremendous turnout for a drag week. So kind of walk us through how that week went.
Yeah. Let's see here. We had gone to test the car a few weeks before. We were out there actually with Mike Finnegan out in Steele, Alabama, and he was testing Blasphemy. And we went to start the car up and one of the lifters hung. And it was one of those, what do you do? One of the valves stuck. The valve just stuck, right? So it wasn't moving. And so we called Proline, and basically they said, skip the testing, load the car, come back. And so we took their advice and did, because I've ignored the advice before, and that was the broken camshaft and a few other things. So don't ever let the driver make the decision. And so our first day of testing was day 0. And Jamie Miller, Red Hat Mafia, was tuning. So we flew Jamie in, and Jamie knows the rules, right? He can touch the car up until the day 1 begins. And so he's there with us. And we made a first couple of hits, and the car took the power. It went nice and straight, no shake, like really, really smooth, which was great. And this was at Darlington. And so coming into the morning, we tried to be smarter than years past. We had the car already in drag format, not in street mode that we have to do a conversion before the 9 o'clock call to lanes. And we got to the track. Actually, we stayed at the track in my truck bed. So we were super early in the morning, and we went up there and made that first pass. And I think now my memory's getting faded, whether we did a 1 and done on that day or if we did 2. But it was when going up there in the car actually made the pass, and we went up a 6 something, like a teen, right? A 17 or a 12. I don't remember the exact numbers, but we were like, okay, we're so close to the 5. So like on day number 1, we are going to go for the 5. We're going to incrementally turn this car up at every track. Let's go do it. And so the next stop, we leave out of where do we start off? We start off in Maryland, right? It's Budds Creek, and then we went to, I think it was New Media. And New Media was gorgeous, right? It was up on this plateau of a hill, like cornfields off to the side. And that was our best pass of the day. I think we went a 6:07, or maybe a 6:11. I'm sorry, my numbers are fuzzy, but we made progress on the day before. So as that went, we looked at each other and said, do you want to make one more? No, one and done. Let's get the heck out of here. And we did. So as we're driving, we all talked and said, I don't think the 5 is going to be possible, because as you start doing the numbers, like how quickly do we need to go in these next 3? And then the next track, which was Maple Grove, that was our most challenging track. We went up there, the car wouldn't start in the burnout line. They pushed me back. I went up there, the car was too hot. It didn't do a good pass. We had to make 2. And while we're waiting to make 2 passes, the clouds are darkening, and you can tell rain is coming. They're even talking on the track radio about, we're going to change it. So a bit of a panic. We put down, I think, a 6:20 something. And that was just like, whew, we got a number that's like keeping us in the overall average. So really, it was late day 4. We realized we have a chance of taking, Jeff's number down, and not by much, right? It was going to be by 0.1, 0.2 seconds. And so I would just tell you that it went from a survival worries to, can we break this record worry, to it's so close, where I even went up in the tower on the last day, and David Freiberger says to me, you need a 6:24. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, thanks for the pressure. Like there's already so much pressure. And so we went up there and we missed on our first pass. And now, like, the lanes are stacked. Everybody's trying to get up there and get their numbers, and they're trying to finish the event so they can do the drivers meeting. So that very, very last pass of the day was a swing for the fences pass. And I think it went a 21 or a 22, but it put us on that average of 17 for the week, which locked it up. But I'll just say day 1 was, let's go for the 5. Day 2, not so sure. Day 4, day 5, we have to get a number to stick, because if we missed on our second one, we wouldn't get a chance at a third, and the whole record falls on one single day, one single pass. So it's crazy how fragile it is.
Well, and I think that shows how hard what he did is. Like, to think about, I mean, that was, now with this year will be 10 years ago. Like, that was, 2016 when he went out and ran a 6:19, average 6:19 all week. And there's been a lot of people along with you that have taken the swing at that stuff. It's been pretty interesting for it to take that long to fall.
I'll be curious if the 5 does come. And like I told you, we're gunning for it. There are guys that can go out and lay down a 5, but it's the driving in between, right? The wear and tear. And we went through a set of slicks. We had the wrong compound, and we didn't learn until late.
Yeah. They were like chewing up real bad. That was pretty wild.
Just too soft, right? We love the Hoosier tire. We had the wrong one for the weight of the car and the power. And so we finally put on the harder compound, and the tire's behaving, but now it's day 5. There's no chance to go test those tires.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see. I want to be optimistically, or I should be cautiously optimistic is the word I'm looking for. And what I'm loving, though, is, I know Goldstone was previewing his new car, right? And he had some trouble in the first day and sort of fell behind on it. And so it wasn't like it was a landslide. I mean, he was fighting the car and still was right there with us the whole time. But this year, 2026, if we end up with Lutz and Larson and myself, and if Bailey comes out, or Morris and Goldstone, like, wouldn't it be cool if there's 5 or 6 guys running neck to neck? I mean, I would like that. I'd love to all be there, trading spots day to day, just to make it super fun, bring a ton of fans to watch it.
Well, and I think the fan side of stuff, but then I think legitimacy side of our stuff, because we're going to talk about Pro Mod and World Series of Pro Mod in the next segment. But if you kind of equate what the Pro Mod ranks have done and how tight that game is over there, and you kind of bring some of that tightness here to Drag and Drive, I mean, if it becomes a battle royale by the time we get to Thursday of drag week, and everybody, say there's 3 guys that are in the running for overall win and, a possible new record, like it becomes a huge story that not just has like us that, and Stick the Mag that live and breathe Drag and Drive, Drag Illustrated, Dragzine, all those guys are covering that, and they're talking about it every chance they get. And, it makes it into all of the news feeds everywhere. And then suddenly that becomes what it becomes a turning point in the sport, which is awesome to me.
It is awesome. And there'll be some haters out there, right, that say, hey, these are Pro Mods, they're not street cars and all that stuff. But if it passes the rule with the DMV, you got a license plate, insurance, horns, lights, to me, it's a street car. And so at some point, it's really hard to draw the difference between that and a hopped up, Chevelle or, a Coyote Mustang that's been stripped down to the guts and has big twins on it. So I'm going to say, it's a street car when it needs to be. It's a race car, but the distance of the drive, and I know Mike Finnegan talked about it on your show as well, which is that drive we just did, like I think it was Cecil County to whatever the third stop was. That was hellacious, like up and down and raining, and you couldn't see over the blinds, and the trailer was doing most of the braking because the race brakes get wet and they're carbon. And so, like, that was the hardest drive of my life for like 95 miles. And we parked under a gas station awning for 2 hours just to take a mental break. Like, I can't do this anymore. So I say if the cars can do that and then still show up and run a 5 or 6, that's a street car. Don't tell me that's a Pro Mod, because my Pro Mod can only run for 8 seconds and it's out of gas. Right? That's a
Yeah, real deal street car stuff. The stories that came from that drag week are pretty interesting. The downhill mountain run there, Brian Goldstone was putting the Corvette. He put it on up against the banking there. He was hitting the trans brake trying to get to slow down because the brakes had went away. I mean, like, insane stuff. It was awesome.
It's insane. I'll tell you, the one complaint we had on the car, the windshield is Lexan. It's all there's nuts and bolts holding it on around, but we never waterproofed those. And so as it rained, they would drip from a different hole every time, which means you couldn't anticipate it, right? It was like water torture going down the road, one cold drip, one cold drip, one cold drip, one cold drip. And so this year, like, one of the improvements, we're waterproofing the windshield, period. I don't care if the car weighs 10 pounds more, it's getting waterproofed.
Dude, that's awesome. That's something you'll never do to the Pro Mod.
No. They want me on the diet for the Pro Mod. I can't even get a cheeseburger before I go race that thing. So
yeah, man, that's crazy. What's something you did right during the week?
I would say, so first off, maintenance. Driven oil, right? Fantastic. They hooked us up with the Smoil oil, which we put in, and I'll tell you, just the wear and tear on the motor. The parts we had on board, so valve springs. We lowered, this is a ProLine's concept of lowering some of the lift and taking some of the, the movement out of the rockers just to stop the springs from wearing out so fast. So like the valve train, the engine components, and having that motor happy was really important, and the cooling as well. So I know this is more mechanical than what we did right or wrong, but the big thing we fought in years past was the heat. And so getting the heat out of that car, putting a huge removable oil cooler in, we gapped the hood back. And this is a Finnegan idea, to take some more hood off to let the air come out from under in front of the windshield. So basically on the street, we really babied it. And I, from time to time, would start to get anxious and roll the foot and roll the foot and roll the foot. And, RPMs, if we get around 25, 2600, Jay sitting next to me giving me the, hey, slow down, tough guy. And I just want to get to the next checkpoint. So what we really did well was babying the car on the street. I know the trailer burnouts look cool, but we had already chunked one of our differentials, and that's all I need is to catch a tire on a burnout on a side street and lose a diff, and we're out of the race. And rev it up too much and we break a spring, we lose a lifter, and we've done this on the side of the road. It's a nightmare. So we literally babied it. If the speed limit's 70, we're doing 60, and just waving to people as they drive by. We'll see you at the next checkpoint. Yeah. And that was it, because we know when we get to the track, it's going on 75 pounds of boost and 10,000 RPM. And it's going to fly out the back door. But on the street, that car was on vacation. It was just cruising.
Well, and I think that's true of all the big cars, like that front runner car. Like Alex Taylor did a burnout at Sick Week, and it blew our minds. We were like, oh my gosh, she's doing a burnout. That's in a parking lot that didn't have 300 people. And I was like, oh man, I'm glad I got it, because there's probably never proof of that anywhere else but right here.
That's right. Yeah, and she understands the wear and tear in the car more than anybody does. So,
yeah.
All the power to her. I'm a chicken. I just don't do them.
Right. Guy Young here asking if you're planning for Drag Week this year. I would say yes. Right.
Yeah, very much so. And I know there's other events, right? So it's no disrespect to them, but with work, life, family, and the other racing I'm doing, we've just sort of decided we're going to test for Drag Week, like it's Drag Week, and then we're going to go do Drag Week. And that's 2 weeks out of this year dedicated to the drag and drive in the race schedule. And I want this car to be a 5-second car. I don't know if I could do 5, 6, 7 events and have it still run 5s. It'd just be way too much wear and tear on it. Yep.
Well, with Mike asking what things you did right during drag week, what were some things that you could have done better?
The tire compound, major issue. We fought that all week long. It got to the point of dangerous, where if you look, the slick is typically just a flat surface. It was chunked and pitted all the way around. It was happening on the decel. So we'd go down track, and as you come off, it would catch and it would chunk the tire. I think that we probably went too close to dangerous on that, and we wasted some performance fighting it. Also, the trailer, I think, is overloaded, right? So we've overpacked, overplanned, and this year we're going to try to get a little bit more efficient with it. So silly things, we go to leave Cecil County drag strip, and it's closed up, people are rolling out, jump in the car, we get our Cheez-Its, we get our water bottles, we're set up, we got our headsets, we're ready to make the drive, and I go to hit the starter, and nothing happens. You're like, oh no. Well, the Bendix wasn't, shooting out of the starter. We have a spare starter in the trailer. What does that mean, though? Get out the Projects, fire up the air compressor, raise the car back off the ground, and the starter is parked all the way up in the front of the trailer, so everything has to be unloaded again. So Jay and I have got to figure out better. I bet you we loaded and unloaded that trailer 4 times a day. We need to figure out how to do it once. And that's something at the end of the week, we were just exhausted, and you're banging your head and your elbows going in and out of this aluminum box. We can't do that again. We have to improve on that process somehow.
And that's one thing that you can't explain that to people. Like, they just don't get it until they do it. Like, even a weekend event, like, you're in and out of this trailer so much, or you're, loading and unloading the trunk of the car because you don't want to pull a trailer this time. Like, oh my gosh, it's so difficult, especially at the level of car you have. Like, you can't just wheel in and drop the trailer and go race. Like, there's a huge list of stuff, I'm sure, that has to be swapped over and done and double checked.
There is. And so, Mike, that's something else too, which is the 2025. I said I want to have some more fun, right? Because we were so working on the car in the years past. It was always broken. And the 24, by the way, we snapped a camshaft out in a cornfield and had to get towed home. So that was like a terrible night. But we did make the checkpoints while people were there. One of the diners, sit down and eat at a table with a group of people. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is way more cool than like being the last ones here or 2 o'clock in the morning. And so really going for those one and dones, getting on the road and not dilly-dallying, load up and go, get your fuel, go to the bathroom at the checkpoints. You can kill hours just messing around. And so I'd say we did better at having more fun, but I didn't do a great job of spending much time with the other drivers. And you'd only talk to the guys you happened to pit next to at each one of the tracks. I probably didn't go more than 1 or 2 pits to my left or right. And I'm more of a social butterfly. I'd like to meet some more people, hear about their cars. Like, I felt a little bit selfish, but I think that's what it takes too to keep that car going all week.
Yeah. Well, that made me think of another question that really wasn't on the list. So I'm going to throw you off on this one here. But what kind of spare parts do you bring and stuff in that trailer at a car at your level?
So for spare stuff, valve springs for sure. And the springs sort of have a life on them for passes or compressions or whatever it is, but we measure the springs constantly. If we snap them, it's pretty quick and easy to change, on the side of the road. So I just sum it up with valve train components, an entire engine's worth, right? So whether it's push rods, the caps, the retaining caps on top of the valve stems, springs. I do have 2 pistons, rods. Haven't had to go under. I don't carry a set of rods. I don't carry a set of pistons. So if we burn up a motor, we're probably going to be stuck. Spare differential, which came in huge last year. We broke it on, I think it was day 1 over at Maryland. We had the actual right ratio bolt in, so it took us about an hour. And then we just towed the old broken differential around with us for the whole week because it had gotten chunked without a spare, which was nerve-wracking. Spark plugs galore. So every pass, we run fresh plugs, and we have street plugs and race plugs. And the race plugs, one use and toss. And so we have to have enough to go 2 or 3 passes a day for the 5 days. So we carry a lot of spark. Yep, they're good for 1 pass, and then that's it. Otherwise, you can't read them, and it's so much horsepower, we're not going to risk it. Yeah. We keep a 5-gallon pail of fuel on board. One is the M1 for the race car, and the other is gasoline for the street. And so when we get to the track, if we can't find the VP truck and we need to make a pass, we've got the M1 on board to make a lick, right? Especially if it's a 9 o'clock call to lanes and you're thrashing to get there. The 5-gallon on board is the tank in the car holds 18 gallons, and we get about 10 miles to the gallon, but we're trying not to get down near the bottom of the tank. So if we're getting close and we can't find a station, we dump in the 5, right? It's a lifeline of gasoline. Mm-hmm. We don't have a spare transmission, but we do have, fluid. So we'll change the oil twice in the week. It's about 2.5 gallons per change. So it takes 5. And that's awesome because Driven's got these big 2.5 gallon jugs that fit right in the trailer perfectly. Transmission fluid, we'll change that once or twice. So we have enough for 2 changes. And then diff fluid, which I think that it takes, I can't remember how many quarts. It's a pretty decent amount. It's like 8 or 10 quarts in the rear end. So we'll carry a whole set of diff fluid, not to change for wear and tear, but if you chunk a gear, you need to put in fresh fluid. So just started taking this 4x8 box and stacking it in there with this stuff. And then the tools to work on it, which is all the valve train parts. We get enough ratchets and stuff to pull heads and pull an oil pan. I have disposable drain pans because first year we were cleaning them. So we're carrying brake clean, all this other stuff, and it takes hours. So now we drain to the plastic cans, we dump them in the track oil dumps, and we just throw away the plastic pan and use a new one the next day. They're like $3 each at the auto parts store. Nice. Towelettes, right? Because that was another thing too. We didn't know how to clean our hands the first year. So just regular towelettes, those little hand cleaner ones are awesome to get the grease and stuff off here. There's no creature comforts. We don't bring chairs. We don't bring umbrellas. There's obviously race radios. I've got like AA, AAA, CR2032 batteries, like all the weird stuff sitting in Tupperware bins inside, and then a whole thing of fluids. So I'm not talking oil. I mean like, the RTV gray, just lubricating fluid, super glue, duct tape, masking tape. So we have like a little like general bin of stuff, which we've gone into multiple times, including those big bumps going over the train tracks in Pennsylvania, and our trailer plug came off and it was dragging on the ground. Well, it drug itself till they ground the wires out. So we had to pull over and tape that sucker up because our trailer was going nuts and the brakes were pulsing, and like never anticipated we'd be taping up a trailer plug on the side of the road, but we did. So
that's insane. What a great question.
Yeah. That's wild.
And inside the car, I'll just tell you, we bought those Camel packs. We put them behind the seat. And in the morning in the hotel, you fill them up with ice, and then you fill them up with water. I think they hold 2.5 gallons. So on the road, having just a straw you can put in your mouth and get cold water is awesome, because our water bottles and the cup holders get super hot. The tunnel gets hot, anywhere gets hot. And so we were drinking hot Gatorade, hot ginger ale, hot water. It was disgusting. That ice water is like a lifesaver in the car, for sure.
Genius.
Yeah, that's pretty smart.
And one of the creature comfort. So Jay, my co-pilot, has his own business called CPD. It's Clegg Performance Designs, and he does 3D printing. And it's a lot of car part stuff, right? So intake manifolds and cold air and stuff like that. He fabbed up these little cups that go into the window of the Viper. And so when we're driving down the road, it's like having like a butterfly window on an old pickup truck, right? It does that inside the car. What a difference that was for cruising to get cool air into the cab. Yeah. And then Ryan built these little stands to lift our back deck lid. So the air's coming in the side window and going out the deck lid, because remember, it's a metal chassis on a steel firewall and a carbon fiber floor. So when the engine and the transmission are 220 degrees, I think the inside is 220 degrees. So
or 270.
Yeah, whatever. It's insane. Yeah.
That's wild. That reminds me during, I think it wasn't Mega Week. It was maybe Rocky Mountain 2024. Brian Robbins, I think it was race week. Brian Robbins had put a temp gun on the firewall of the Javelin. It was 165 degrees on the firewall. So yeah, he's like, and the bars and everything are connected to all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, I can't imagine how hot it is in all of that stuff.
Yes. So if you get a chance, peek in my car next time. There's pads on my side and passenger side where your knee would rest against the bar for that exact reason. You don't think about it until you spend 2 hours, 3 hours, and your leg is on fire leaning against the bar. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why the pictures look great. The rolling videos look great. We smile, we wave. We're dying. It's like, let's get this drive over with. This is not comfortable at all.
We have to make this look cool. Hi.
Quick wave.
Well, just like the picture that we got queued up here, that was from 24. Was it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I recognize that cornfield.
Yeah. Still one of my favorite photos of all times. Is the
it's
photo
pretty
right
cool.
here.
So the slick's right up on the back there. They're already on the rim, and then we've got these big, same size tire, regular street tread tire that goes on, and we air those down to give ourselves a little bit of a scush on the ride. And you can see the blue fuel can hanging off the side in the front. The trailer, by the way, was built by Storm and Performance. So they build these trailers specifically for drag and drive, with like fold down shelves, spot for your compressor up in front, generator cabinet. It's a cute little trailer that does well because it's super lightweight. And so
you mean tough, super awesome, so tough.
Yeah, it's not cute. It's awesome. But I also like small and cute because we're towing this thing behind my 400 transmission, which is a Mickey, by the way. And the Mark Mickey transmission takes the beating all week long and never gives us any trouble. So I'm a huge M&M fan. Huge M&M fan.
Yeah, Mark is awesome. And I'm sure like the abuse that you just put on this thing probably helps him develop those things better for Pro Mod too.
If so, he's not telling me what he sees inside my transmission, but it does go back and get refreshed after these events. And It's pretty well worn.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Well, one other thing that I wanted to ask before I get back to our regular questions here is that photo that's on the cover of the Summit catalog is one that I took from the same event. But what happened on that pass? Was it like the brakes that blew out, or do you remember?
No. So can you bring it up? You got that handy? Or can you hold it up?
I don't have it right here by me. Actually, give me 1 second. It's right behind me.
Okay. Yeah. These things start to blend together, right? I can't remember where the photo was taken in the background. Yeah.
Now imagine you're Brian Robbins and Bryant Goldstone, and you're trying to remember that you did 4 last year, and like.
No, I can't do it. Every day blends together. I even come up with a name back.
Yeah, so I can't remember what this one was. I think it was in Norwalk, but I don't remember if like the brakes were going or something, but there was tons of smoke behind it. Oh. And then I remember at the end of the track, it had some kind of flame coming out of it.
Yeah. I don't know what the mechanical was on that one, but I'm thinking it's like oil related through the turbos, something like that. And I didn't shut down quick enough because we didn't have any major like fire or breakage, or the brakes never have been our problem, thank goodness, other than in the rain. So yeah, that was a very smoky shutdown. And every once in a while we just look around and go, what was that? Don't know, right? Put some new springs in it and spark plugs and let's go again. So who knows? There is times too, like, we'll overfill by accident on fluids, and we try not to, but it's just, you're in a hurry, and, Jay will put some in, I'll put some in, and we don't tell each other we both put some in. It's like, it's coming out one way or the other under boost. So
yeah, that's fair.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, I think one last question here for this segment is what is one of your drag and drive bucket lists? Like what's an event that you haven't been to that you would like to go to?
I think the Rocky Mountain is on the list. That seems to me like one of those, if you can do those hills, and I've been out there on vacation before, driving, going, wow. And then I thought to myself, I can't imagine doing this in my race car, but the scenery, right? Just beautiful rolling hills and open, cool, fresh air. I know it's hot and humid, it can rain, snow, but I think Rocky Mountain Week would be a cool thing just to change, surroundings and change the landscape.
Yeah, it's awesome. And dude, 1,300 miles. Come on.
Yeah, that's a hike. I don't like the drive only days. I see that in some of the events. Like I have more fun racing than I do driving, and so I'd much rather go to a track and race. But I know why they do it, right? It's just sometimes they're really far spread out, or it's to add one more day. So, but I prefer to race more than drive.
And I'll tell you, it's really kind of I've enjoyed it. The Thick Week was fun this year, but what we've done with Rocky Mountain, I think, is a great time too, because what ends up happening is everybody kind of still ends up staying together, and everybody's kind of like, hey, this town is kind of about 2/3 of the way, so we're going to stop here, and so you still end up with a lot of the stuff, and then like normal, you end up thrashing trying to get to the track that morning to get in there and get ready to make passes.
Yeah. I wish there was more tracks up around the New England area. So that's where I'm born and raised, Gloucester, Massachusetts. My folks are up there. My brother lives up in Connecticut. I would love it if there was enough tracks to host an event in the New England area, because I'd also have all my people I grew up with in Gloucester come out to see me. That, no one's going to get on the plane. That'd be cool. It's just not enough tracks, I don't think, to hold the events in proximity.
Right. Yeah. Especially with some of the stuff going away is, man, it makes it very tough between. And the hard part, I can't remember, maybe it was Midwest Drags, but the drives looked short, but it took forever because you're going through and around cities and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, which is miserable, by the way. Like, I know it's part of the survival of the cars. I would much rather back road it in the cornfield, waving at the people and stopping off at an ice cream stand than bumper to bumper to bumper. And so I'm a little nervous on 2026. I know we go near St. Louis, and I've been there before. You could lose a car in a pothole up there. So that's going to be an interesting way they route us in and out of that track. But that's got me the most nervous of this upcoming 26 event. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll agree with that for sure. Okay, let's rock on. Let's do some AFCO racing stuff, and then I want to talk about Pro Mods, man. So racers know when you want performance that wins, you want AFCO. From shocks and suspension to cooling brakes and more, AFCO Racing has been helping teams go faster for over 30 years. Built by racers for racers. Check out the AFCO Advantage. And follow them today on social media for the latest in performance parts. AFCO Racing, built to win. One question we did have before we jump into that is from our boy Brian Havlick, who's like, a great test for some of the Hot Rod Drag Week stuff coming up would be the Havlick's Fastest Streetcar Shootout that's happening at Cordova August 8th and 9th, that will have some of the baddest cars out there. So just wanted to, obviously you would be welcomed with open arms into that, but we're to have you up there. It's going to be awesome.
I'm humbled. Thank you. Yeah. And tons and tons of invites, which is awesome. Calendar gets tight, so we got to pick and choose. I think August 7th, August 8th is a PDRA race that we're going to be in, but also my daughter's moving into college for her sophomore year, and I've already been told I'm going to have to miss the race because I'm moving her stuff into her apartment. So, but we are certainly going to attend other events besides Drag Week. For now, we're just staying on the Drag Week focus, but Tom's been hugely gracious and say, hey, sign up and come out. We'd love to have you on board. Rocky Mountain, and I forget the gentleman's name who runs that, but he was at 23 Drag Week. Yeah, he's like, and he had the wasn't it Pro Charged, Nova or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, really nice guy. I know he fought that damn wheel throughout the whole week, but he's like, you got to come do it. So I'm going to cash in on some of those. You got to come do it really soon. I promise.
That's awesome. Matt has gone twin turbos now.
Mm-hmm.
So doing away with the street Pro Charger deal. I think he was trying to do some very hard stuff with a very hard combo, but he wanted to be one of the ones that did it. And, crank driven setup, I think just very, very difficult on that side. So it's going to be great to see him go twins in that car. And that car is very, very fast. So it should be really fun to watch.
When's it going to be ready?
It should be by this year. I think Drag Week is a plan of his this year. So
sweet.
Yeah. So it'll be another one up in the front running there. Okay. Yep. Well, let's switch gears just a little bit because you mentioned PDRA. I jokingly sent you a message like, hey man, you're carrying the torch for us at World Series of Pro Mod. Talk to us about this Pro Mod you got here, man, because this thing is badass.
Yeah. So this car was not a wing and a prayer, but an opportunity brought to me. Said, hey, this car is available. If you want it, we'll have to wire the money today. And it wasn't because the guy was hurting for cash at all. It's because there's so many other people that wanted this car. It was a roller at the time, right? And it was set up to go on big tires. And so took 5 minutes, thought about it, and said, all right, let's do it. Under the promise that it was money good, right? Someone else would buy it out from underneath of me. And sure enough, as the car's being built, people are calling saying, do you want to sell it? Do you want to sell it? Do you want to sell it? So wow. I feel like it was a great initial investment, even though it's a glorious waste of money, like most race cars are. Okay. So we built the car for the Radial Outlaw Series. As I mentioned before, my Viper was falling back. It was holding the same and the class was going quicker. So we had to compete with the class and going on a screw and going on the radial tire where we can, just go right out of the gate, not worry about wheelies and turbo lag that puts you in a power wheelie. That's what the car was built for. So we campaigned it in last year's RVW, and that's where we came in third on the field, did great, had a couple of runner-up finishes, which, near misses. One guy beat me on the tree. One was just, they beat me heads up. But this car came together very quickly because first off, Ryan Rakestraw of RK Racecraft, he's like, Ned, I can turnkey the car for you, but you need the components. And so I called Eric Dillard over at Proline, and Eric's like, you wouldn't believe your timing. He's like, I've got a Noonan 4.9, and I have a couple of blowers that are coming up availability. And these C-type blowers have been tough to get for a while. I know there's more on the market now, but one of the races was retiring, and his whole entire race program was for sale. Truck, trailer, cars, motors. And so I ended up buying heads, blower, parts, so I got a bunch of valves and springs and stuff off of his trailer before it all got bought up by other people as well. So a little bit of a golden horseshoe, to me. I picked the car up quickly before somebody else snapped it away. I love the color orange from my Viper, so that was a plus. Ryan had capacity to turn the car, and the guys over at Proline, this is exactly what they do. They build Pro Mods. Yep. And so we got together and we talked about a Pro Charger or a screw or a turbo. And for maintenance, for durability, for the tuning window on this, the screw was the number one choice. And for the radial world, you don't need to be on a 92 overdrive. You can go up to a 128. There's just a bit of a weight penalty. But you can wind these things up to 75 pounds of boost, which is insane because it's off the button. It doesn't build, it's there. Right, so we're running right now around 47 or 45 pounds, depending on the weather, on this 92 overdrive with a minimum weight package of 2,600 pounds. So it's insane. It is such a different car. But my eye opener, So we go to start the car for the first time at the shop after Ryan finishes it. And they had me, stand outside of it and watch. They gave me the whole sequence. They fire it up. And of course, it blows your eardrums. And it's the coolest thing you've ever heard. He's like, do you want to start it? I'm like, yeah. So I get in the car. And right before I crank the key, I start opening the throttle. Every guy in the shop, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, I'm thinking it's a turbo car. You got to give it a little gas to start it up. Oh, no. If you crack that throttle, this thing's going to go to 7,000 in neutral, like in a second. You don't touch the throttle, right? They've got the blades in those things close to like 12 1,000ths, and it still idles at 2,100 RPM. It's trying to kill itself. So that scared the hell out of me on day number one. I was like, well, I'm not a race car guy. I'm an idiot. So I got the and then they're telling me in the burnout, your first burnout, when you pull up in this thing, it's not your turbo car, right? The turbo car, I'll go to the floor, I make boost, and I'll click 1, 2, 3 in the gears to get the tires going. This thing, you put it in third gear and just touch the throttle and don't go over 7,000 RPM. Yeah, and it just stands up on the tires. The power is insane. Like if I could take this car on drag and drive and shut it off at the 8th, because we did this for my NHRA license, I rolled to 577s off at the 8th. Yet in the Viper, I'm max effort out the back going 611. I'm like, come on. So, but this thing wouldn't make it from the return road to the pits. It would be on fire out of gas. So it's not going to do a street track.
They're really insane. It's been pretty wild to see the transition, like especially for Mark Mickey, who huge turbo guy. Now he's got the Hearts Charger on, or Pro Charger. I can't remember which one he has, but that whole setup, man, these things are insane and they're fun to be around. And I think as far as like in my experience for the people I've been around, Pro Mod is a blast, right? Like a lot of the guys are business owners. They're having a good time. They're longtime car guys. They're not like, they're not getting into it because there's money there. They're getting into it because, man, holy shit, this is like a door car that goes really, really fast.
It is. It's an adrenaline rush. You're right. It's a bunch of similarly minded people, right? And every team has got 3 or 4 crew. Everyone's got a big truck and trailer. They hold to a tight schedule. So call to lanes. It's almost like a coordinated dancing. Everybody backs up, pulls up together, makes the pass, pulls back in, turns the car around. It's a whole culture. And you think it's a big world till you start doing it, and you realize like the World Series of Pro Mod brought 84 Pro Mods out, right? Westbrook did an amazing job gathering talent for that. But talk about intimidating as well. You're lining up against major world champions. Every time you pull up to lanes, I'm like, and the separation is by thousands to get in the top 32. It's insane.
What was really interesting to me, let's be honest, like when you look at the names on the list, I would have not picked NEd Dunphy to be number 18 there. Nothing against you, but dude, these are killers, bro. Like this Pro Mod class that came to World Series of Pro Mod was insane. So to end up 18th, with 359 with a 1, I think is what your number was, something like that. Just over the top, dude.
Thank you. Yeah, we lost on a 357 with an 8 at 212.6. I quote unquote slept on the tree with an 037. The guy next to me went a 12. It was Raymond Matos, and literally he got the whole shot win because he went 58 to my 57, but he came around me. It's just like, he left before me, never came around me, and I couldn't make up the difference. So my bad on that one. Now I know it's like it's trip zip or you lose. You got to go.
And what's wild is like these cars are not that kind of car typically, but these guys, you're having to cut those kind of lights because everything is so tight. I do want to talk about rules for a second for this because it is completely different than what we see like in drag and drive. Like these cars are heavily regulated to weight. You're waiting after each pass. They come by, they check the overdrive on the blowers. They are, looking at you every time you get a chance. Where in drag and drive, if you're in the unlimited class, it's kind of like, hey, run what you brung and hope you brought enough.
I would say the safety rules are enforced the same, right? We've had that with Rick Dodd, John Sears. Like they're going to go through your helmet, your gear, your gloves, right? Your chassis certs, all the big stuff on the car is the same level of scrutiny for SFI. But as far as measuring the car, you're right. I could have 3 blowers hanging off of it at drag week, and they're like, good for you, right? So in this car, for instance, we're running a non-lockup converter, but we left the lockup housing in there, and there's a way to run it, where we don't have to, rebuy new parts, get a new bell housing and all that stuff. However, after every single pass, they plug in and check our log to make sure we're not actually locking the converter because they can't physically see through the bell housing. which is that's like how tight the rules are, and the scaling. So the scales, as we all know, every track's a little bit different. The sun is on the scale, the sun is off the scale, the wind's blowing, and so literally, if you're under, you're out. There's no like, whoops, I forgot something or didn't do something. So everybody runs a couple pounds over. But going through the tech also on the car when they do that. It's a really cool tool to spin the blower and make sure it clocks exactly at 92. You'll record your weight on the side of the window. And then if you end up during the weekend working on the car, and we've had a couple times where the pulleys come loose, we've had to rebolt it, or, we've done something on the front of the motor where we didn't need to take the bottom pulley off. As soon as you break the paint marks, you need to go back through tech so they can reseal your blower. Whereas, drag week, you tech in, and again, they're not teching for performance, they're teching for safety. So it's crazy to keep these cars homogeneous.
Yeah, and to have 84 that you have to do that with, I mean, I hope people at home understand what level of you took really hard race car and made it really harder. Like it's so much more. Well, give us a rundown of World Series of Pro Mod. I mean, like you qualified number 18. Who'd you say you ran round one?
Mike, you're being very kind. I qualified in the third race, number 18. I did not qualify in the first and second race at all. So
now World Series, now Winter Series, yes. Winter Series, we can talk about that a little bit.
Right.
How hard is that getting ready for? Because I want to work this from Winter Series, World Series, then into your PDRA stuff.
Okay, fair enough. So testing first, to get down to Bradenton, because everybody wants to test at the track, not Orlando or someplace else. It's like an event in of itself. And you go down there and you're testing with, 10 to 15 cars at a time, 2 days at a whack. So guys are rolling in, guys are rolling out. But it's nice because the prep is on and you're running on the same surface. But also the car, you start putting laps in these and you're changing out rods every 20, 25 runs, right? You're doing a crankshaft every 75. Oil's getting changed every 5 to 10. So even just going testing becomes an investment in the car. The tires might get 30 or 40 laps if you like them, but you got to scuff in new ones. So I couldn't believe the amount of logistics it was planning for having the car on its best setup by the time it came to race day. It's very, very different.
Yeah. But a lot of people, like Keith Haney tells me all the time, is that people wear their shit out just trying to get ready for the race.
They try to get ready. Yeah. It all comes down to the day. And it's great because testing is sort of doesn't matter. Qualifying, you can go red. It doesn't matter. But all of a sudden that E starts and red light matters. It's door to door. There's no first, second place, you're out, you're gone, and they throw you away. So the pressure is epic. But kudos to all the other drivers. There was no staging games. There was no holding somebody up. There's no burning down. There's no bad, sequence of the line where someone, double bulbs who doesn't know what they're doing. It was very, very smooth. And it's awesome being with a bunch of professional drivers. Even you mentioning the tech. Cars roll up, get tech, roll out. No one's in there fighting and arguing. No one's trying to cheat with pucks or something like that. It was very, very well done.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to be down there with those guys and watch all that go down. I didn't make it to a single race this year, and I'm so sad.
Oh yeah, well, West puts on a heck of a show. They really do a great job with the drivers' meetings, the information flow, sticking with the schedule as you go, bringing you up and running you. And it's crazy because 84 cars, there's 42 pair, and so they're doing prep sometimes twice or 3 times between all those pairs. So you really have to pay attention to your call to lanes because just when they say Pro Mod on standby, it doesn't mean put your suit on. It could be an hour and a half. Right. Or if you're the first car, you better be ready because they're pulling you up and it's time to go. We're not waiting for you to put your belt. Let's go. So the facility is it's at capacity, which makes it fun. Right. So you might complain it's really crowded, but it brings an energy to it. There's just people everywhere. Right. The pits and you are, rig to rig to rig. You pull out and it's a daisy chain of Pro Mods going down of crews and cars and people and the fans are walking in between it. So there's an energy that happens there that is just awesome. And it's sold out every single day. It's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to watch all of that kind of come together, and then there's another 100 and something cars there that are doing other stuff. Like they still ran 650 and 750 index cars. I'm like, we get time for that, man.
And they're pitting on the other side of the track, so you realize when you go out and walk around or have a few minutes, how many teams are there. It's starting line to finish line solid with teams. Yeah. It's incredible.
Yeah. So. Yeah, both sides. Bradenton really does put on a big show and a party. They are a lot of fun. I went for Street Nats in 24 with Keith, and man, I don't know how some of those guys. I'm not going to say we partied till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, but there were times where I could have probably stayed until the sunrise, and then those dudes went and raced.
Yeah. Not me. I'm a bedtime. 10 o'clock lights out. It's it, unless we're fixing the car.
That's awesome.
let's say we go through, so we didn't do too well race 1, race 2. Again, it's a learning game. You're going against killers. And we finally got the car dialed in for the 3rd race, which was great. And we ended up, like you said, 18th in the qualifying, which was awesome because we felt real good about that spot. And I got to go to the chip drop meeting, which is another really fun thing because you're sitting in the room with celebrity drivers, right? People from TV, the Street Outlaw guys are there. Wes and his crew put an awesome presentation as far as calling up the pairings, talking about a couple of the highlights for the day, explaining what's going to happen the next day. But it's in a VIP tent that they put in all this like green carpet, and they give you some swag, So I ended up with like a World Series of Pro Mod, or is it here? This is like one of the chips you draw. You get to take one home,
cool.
Which is really cool. A weird World Series, I'm sorry. And then a spark plug block that's all 3D printed. And I don't have it in the office here, but they gave us jackets. So just some really cool stuff to go out of there. Like, I was part of the Winter Series this year. It was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it makes the drivers feel good.
Yeah.
I mean, a check would have made me feel real good, but I didn't get the
Well, yeah, especially $150,000 check. That'd have been nice. Yeah,
that would have been real nice. That's right.
Those guys that are at that level that can run at the very front and keep their stuff together for that, like, because in one day you're doing all the elimination rounds. So like if you win that, you run your Pro Mod 4 times that day, which is a lot for people that don't understand. I mean, that's a whole bunch.
Tons in between. So going super fast, turning the car, saying it's still going up to the lanes hot, probably 30 to 40 minutes best, right? Most times we have hours to do it, which is great. But most of the teams, they're checking springs, right? They might be doing a compression check. You might be changing fluids, which it's boiling hot when you get back. So cool it down, change it. Sometimes it's a tire change. Even just fueling the car, packing the chutes, getting and then waiting, because you then either have to rewarm the car back up or make sure it's cool enough. So when you get pulled up in your sequence of the lanes, your head temps and everything are right where they're supposed to be. Because again, you're racing for thousands, right? That's how tight it is. And so we're learning. We are very much learning, and you can kind of cheat on some of the pro teams around you. Like when they do their warm up, maybe it's time to do our warm up. You get the rhythm over the course of a weekend, but it's epic.
Man, that's awesome. So how's that lead into PDRA for this year?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, the duck races have been awesome, the radial world, and I really struggled with what should I go after. Switching the car on the format just takes a lot of time, and we've got it so close right now on the big tire. I don't want to go putting it back in radial format for the moment. We had our blower recoded. We did some stuff on the motor just to get it sharper and crisper. So this was location. These events are all 5-6 hours from my house, which is great. The compact race, right? So you qualify on Thursday, you test on Thursday, qualify Friday, race Saturday. Right, with Sunday being a leftover rain day. So I can roll out on a Wednesday afternoon, race those 3 days, and then be home either late Saturday night or early Sunday morning, which is really nice to be able to do that 8 or 9 times, let's say once every other month or so, and not squeeze, my professional life, my family life. I leave the big ones like the drag week, that's going to be 8 or 9 days away, including some testing. But I think at some point I'm going to get back into some other series. So a lot of people said you're going to love the door-to-door. It's like the Winter Series, maybe in smaller groups, because it's now broken into IHRA, NHRA, PDRA. And these guys, some have multiple cars. I've got one car. But later on this year, IHRA, if they get the Commerce drag strip done around Atlanta, I will hit that one. That's an hour from my house and a track I used to race at. And then NHRA, maybe go stretch this thing on the quarter, just grab a gear and whatever else it needs for changes. But I'm dipping my toe into this big tire racing, and to start off at the Winter Series was awesome. So thanks to Wes Buck for inviting me to that.
Yeah, that's super cool, man. I'm so excited about that, and just it's fun from our side to watch, a guy that has done so well in drag and drive stuff take on the beast, man. I mean, like Pro Mods is, I don't know, it's a lot of fun. Wes is a friend and one guy that I don't know. I just aspire to what he's done with Drag Illustrated. It's pretty awesome.
It is. Yeah, they do great. And so this PDRA, we had, I think, 16 or 17 cars at the season opener, which was great. It was a full field. And any one of the cars there could win it. And what was a surprise to me, I had no idea there's so many pro nitrous teams. So they went, they're 24, 26 cars deep. And so where the World Series, some of those nitrous cars came and competed, this was, boost or nitrous. It gets split between the two classes. And then, of course, right now what's raging on is the debate on the weight penalty on the centrifugals versus the blowers. I reserve my opinion, but whatever they do to put the field at parity, I'd rather lose to reaction time than be behind on a car that I can never catch.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing they struggled so much with, at least we did in Midwest, was the capability of the turbo cars last year. I mean, Mark Mickey could make as much power and go as fast as he wanted to, or any of those high-level turbo cars could do it. And that becomes very difficult. You know what I mean? If you have a car that is going to make 3,500 or 4,000, 5,000 horsepower, but this guy over here can make 1,000 more than you at any time, like, dude, that's what it is, man.
Yeah.
You know?
You look at their numbers on the slip, though, it's so different. Right? The blower and the screw cars are off of these really tight 60 foots and really short 330s, and the turbo cars lag. But then in the back half, you'll see us tip over at 212, 215 mile an hour, and they're rolling 223, 225. Right? You saw Jimmy Taylor and whatever trim that was go some stupid number, right? 343, 250. I mean, insane what the turbos can do. But for this sort of a dependable eighth mile stripe to stripe, I think that the centrifugal and the blower cars for now have an advantage over the turbos.
Yeah, I mean, so like give people an idea of what your Viper runs 60 foot and what this Pro Mod runs 60 foot.
Yeah, so 60 foot on the Viper, I think we've been a best of like a 9. Let's see, what the heck have we been here? My goodness, 101. Yeah, we were like low ones, 101, 102, 103.
Wow.
At drag week, we're like 110, 117 just to get it down the track, right? But on the radial, it was a little bit quicker. And I think we went 199 in one of our races, which was the quickest. But it's a heavier car. It's a super short wheelbase. And so like to ramp that power, it would just do a wheelie and kill us. Whereas this Pro Mod right now, we're 902, 901, 903, 60 foot, pretty consistent on the screw. And so it doesn't sound like a big difference, but if you were to put us side by side, it's probably a car length by the 60 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a tenth of a second for people that weren't adding up there. That is a gigantic run when you start looking at that. And that is one thing that's great to watch as a spectator, is to watch the turbo cars come on like that, because a blower car could be out a car, and then here comes this turbo car just 223 miles an hour. Like Ed Thornton is one of the Midwest racers, and man, we call him Mr. Mile an Hour because 223, 225, stuff like that. All the time. That dude it's incredible in that Camaro. So
there's some fast cars. There's Sean Ellington, right? The Murder Nova, he cruises back. Mike Bowman. Some of those turbo cars are super quick out the back.
It's gonna be. I was speaking of Sean Ellington. For anybody that is interested in some mod watching stuff, we will be racing Midwest Drag Race Series in the throwdown at T-Town at Tulsa Raceway Park May 8th and 9th, and Sean is one of the racers that's coming there, so it should be kind of fun.
But I think he's off turbo now, same as Mickey. They both converted. He's pro charger now for sure, so it should be pretty interesting. I think Mickey is a Hearts because he was a Hearts turbo guy, so well, we're bringing precision to drag week. That's what we're going to do. And I know there's a couple out there. There's Hearts, and I'm not sure what Goldstone runs. Some diesel turbo. I thought it's a different kind, some steel. But we've been trying to figure out, like, could we stick a carburetor on the front of that blower? Take the belt off and just street drive it with no boost, and then put it on. Because that would be a pretty cool thing, is to be using the blower on the track and using the carburetor on the street. Some version of that, or a throttle body or something. But candidly, the turbo is our best combo. It's just leave it as it is and use it for the street, use it on track.
Right. And I think Matt Frost, that's what he was trying to do in 23, was pull the whole blower gearing apart and then drive it just kind of an NA setup, and just couldn't quite get the stuff behind it. I don't think they had enough tuning and testing on the setup for race stuff, but it was just too hard on the street. So that is life at the front end.
Well, and frankly, we've had the precisions on there now for the past 3 years. So they've gone, call it 2,500 miles. So we bailed out halfway through the second race when it broke. And we're just sending them back now, working perfectly. And I'm changing, like I told you, for 102s and the 98 XPRs. But new technology, we're promised, quicker spool, more boost. So I'm pumped to put these precisions to the test. And it's going to be tuning now. We've learned so much from the Pro Mod on how the car leaves, setting up the shocks, the weight. And, if we can get the sucker to get us down to a 1.0 something 60 foot, I think we can reel in a 5-second pass without having to go out the back door like idiots at 80 pounds of boost or something like that.
That's awesome. Okay. Ned, thank you so much for coming on with us tonight, man. I really appreciate it. It's pretty wild that, you're the fastest guy in all of Drag and Drive, dude. I mean, like, reset a record that had been out for nearly 10 years. I mean, it's pretty cool. So congratulations on all that. Thank you for coming on tonight. What have we forgotten to talk about?
I think we got it all.
Okay.
Sweet.
Yeah, Mike, Eric, I appreciate it. And, I've said it since the beginning. As soon as we hit that record, I'm being hunted. It's not going to stand forever. So we're proud of it. Absolutely. I'd love to come back this year and back it up and set it deeper. Right. That would make a whole bunch more noise out in the world. But thank you for having me on. It was a great time, and I appreciate the advance notice and also being flexible in the schedule to let me jump on. So thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. If you'll stay backstage for just a second, we get the show shut down, but I want to talk to you about something just real quick. So
Sounds good.
type.
Okay.
All right, man.
Thanks everybody.
One thing we didn't ask, where can people follow you? Where can they see all your fun stuff?
Oh yeah. Thanks. So a couple places. So Instagram and Facebook, you can just look me up as NEd Dunphy or Dunphy Racing, and also dunphyracing.com. I sell t-shirts, and I've got some really awesome, we just showed you here, hoodies. And these are L9 hoodies with the Viper on the back. They're super thick, super warm. Also have the Pro Mod t-shirts, and I got my old Viper t-shirts. So all of the money from the website goes straight into the gas tank of the race cars. Like, it's not a get Ned rich quick scheme. It literally, I put it into the fuel bill for these cars. And so my youngest daughter, Claire, runs the website. And so we fulfill orders here at the house. And I would really appreciate the support. It's just dunphyracing.com.
How
Awesome.
cool, man. All right. I know where I'm ordering some hoodies tonight.
Thank you.
Sure. Awesome. Thanks so much, man. We'll see you in just a second.
I'll hang tight. Thanks, everybody.
All right, Eric.
Dude, what a night.
Show. Wow. Oh, I meant to show this photo a while ago. Big shout out to Matt Fling, who we're going to feature on our Backbone of Dragon Drive Part 9 coming up on Friday. Ned and Matt got to hang out at PDRA the other day, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Again, thanks to Eric Saffel and Rex over at AFCO Racing for making this whole thing possible. And sir, I will stop talking and let you send us out.
All right. Again, appreciate all of our race car friends that were in here making comments all night. Man, just a great show tonight, and appreciate all of you guys tuning in, all the shares, all the comments. And of course, all of our sponsors. Can't do what we do without these guys. So Summit Racing Equipment, D-Works, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Howard's Cam, J-Wire Solution, AFCO Racing Products, Performa-Built Transmissions, Car Chains 3D, Low Dollar Motorsports, Power Tube TV, and Racing Junk. And what do we got for next week?
Dude, we got Brian Nutter and Brandon Dollar from Low Dollar Motorsports. So Brian Nutter from Summit, we're going to talk about all things Summit Pro Series, and then we're going to talk about how Brandon really built Low Dollar out of kind of a side hustle, and now it's just blown up to what it is. So kind of excited about next week. It's going to be nerdy stuff. So guys, get your get drinks and sit down. It's going to be a good time.
All right. Well, we will see everybody Saturday morning for the news. See you guys
Later.